All right, welcome in, welcome in. Fresh Coke Zero, iced up. Got our first draft going on. Dan is just on his way right now, so I will hold down the fort here until we get started. But basically, we are joining Levi for our first draft of the season here. Very excited. Just a $20 league, but it's going to be a nice warm up, for redraft season, because we're just making a ton of content for you guys over the next month here as we're preparing for drafts. If you're watching this right now as I start the stream, you're probably rewatching. So basically, what's about to happen, especially if you're like in a car ride, whatever you might be doing, I'm about to pick my spot. Unfortunately, I will be the second last one to be able to pick my spot, and unfortunately, it looks like Dan might be the 10th or 12th guy to be able to pick a spot. Yeah, he's the 12th, so looks like Dan and I are going to probably be beside each other. Oh, boy. Oh, wait, I can get the 107. Okay. Do I want that? Okay. I guess I'll just take 107 and just pray. I do not like that. 107 it is. But, spoiler alert, I do not like James Cook. He, I think, is right now kind of the 107. So, I'm going to go check the board here. See what other options will be. Dan is in here now. Perfect. I will transfer Dan in here. Dan, you might be getting, I can't hear you yet, but you might be getting James Cook if you're sitting right beside me. That's our, the only name drop I'll do is, I'm not taking him. All right. You guys should be able to see Dan here in just a moment. Perfect. What is going on? Okay, I need a refresh sleeper. That's what needs to happen here. Look at us. Drafting back to back, eh?
Yeah. Lucky us, we get the 111 and 112 in the Derby, so we're the last to choose. So what did I get stuck with? What pick?
Yeah, so you got 108. I got 107.
Lovely.
I mean, 108 or 109 were, I guess, no, I didn't even have the choice between 109, I don't think. Yeah, so I had to pick between both of those. I just figured I might go 107 just in case I get a guy that I would really like to drop there. I doubt it, but who knows? Who knows what might happen here in our first draft. Welcome in, Dan, here as we get things going here. I'm going to pull up our chat now and everything gets set up. Just telling anyone who is watching probably after the fact, if they're, watching at this point very early, that this is our first draft and that we did a derby to determine the draft order.
Yeah, I'm definitely not excited about picking from the 108, but
No.
not going to complain about it too much. That's not going to do me any good. You just got to accept what you got, make the best of it. Don't be a victim of thinking like, oh, I got a bad pick, like now I can't win, like baloney. Like, I still have the mindset that I'm going to crush this draft.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm going to make sure for our viewers. Oh, yeah, that looks good, I think. They can see the top players in ADP. They can't see my queue. They can see us fine. That's perfect here. I'm just going to move your camera a little bit. But, yeah, we're looking good here. Yeah, I will say that too. I did not like that spot. But I think very quickly that could change. Especially as I'm looking at ADP right now. I did completely just forget about a player that I would own, not hate having at a start for the 107. I do think there is a chance I will feel much better by the time the first 3 rounds are done here. But we will find out that very shortly as the draft begins.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, maybe I'll end up liking the 108 more than I think. I mean, I haven't done many redraft drafts. In fact, that's probably the biggest reason why I joined this league, because I got to get my reps in. I got to. And what better way than a real money league, even if it's only $20 buy-in? But that's perfect. Not much on the line. This is good practice here.
No, yeah, exactly. I won't be able to see if my friend texts me. That is my friend and gym partner at 104, who I got to join this league.
Oh, nice.
I didn't pressure him. I just said if you want. He was saying that he'd like to join the league, and I said, hey, if you want one, I got one for you. So he is in here. I'm interested to see how his draft is. He's not a big fantasy guy.
Okay.
Like he doesn't really know any of the rookies and stuff like that. But he is an Eagles fan, so he of course knows who the Eagles rookies are and whatnot. But maybe some of the top ones are. But we will see. I mean, it doesn't. Honestly, it could be an advantage sometimes not knowing stuff about fantasy.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can avoid some very tempting players that rug pull you, and you can kind of luck your way into some really good hits potentially if you're
Yeah, I
just
mean, I
not
think
aware.
the biggest potential advantage with like not knowing much is that like you can't overthink things,
Yeah.
because I mean that's something that's easy to do, especially for people that like us that think a lot, think very deeply on these things. Sometimes you gotta just simplify things and play it stupid.
No, exactly. Okay, up at the 107 here. For me, coming up here, I am basically deciding, do I want running back or receiver?
Yeah,
And I just think it's very, very important to go running back early. I think Amon-Ra could be a fantastic pick, or one of these other CDs, whatever. I am going to lean with JT here, who obviously I have some concerns about the offense, like with the old Achilles of Daniel Jones going. I'll let you think through your pick here before I continue, though, as I forgot you were right behind me.
yeah. How long's the clock here? I don't see it.
You have
60
47 seconds.
Yeah, it's a tough choice here. Yeah, I'm again just thinking like running back or receiver. Man, might just have to go with my gut here. All right. This is a tough one.
It is. I know for
I
you,
will
too,
go
with
with my
two players on
boy
the board
Amon-Ra
here.
St. Brown. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about my strategy with that pick.
Did you pick
once
him?
we get around the
It
turn
doesn't
here.
say you picked him.
Oh, I have him in my queue. Am I still on the clock?
Yeah.
Um,
Because it might throw you on auto draft.
yeah. Where the heck's the draft button?
Uh,
I have him queued up. The plus sign is like grayed out for me. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
I'll leave a message. Dan is here. He couldn't click draft. Okay, I'll do it in the draft room.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong here.
He queued Amon-Ra.
It's so weird. Maybe I should like refresh this. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. What is it with you in the drafting here? You can never figure out this draft. You're always on auto for some reason. Like you never
Well,
let
yeah,
you
I
click
struggled when we did our last stream with talking about things, getting distracted by that, and
Yeah.
not like focusing enough on the draft. Here, I was actually ready, but like the draft button was grayed out, so
Yeah.
like, it's not my fault.
it. No, that's funny. All right.
Yeah. So what happened? Did I get autoed Amon-Ra or what?
Yeah, you got Amon-Ra. So
Sweet.
I was gonna say with my JT pick at number 1, I don't love it, but I don't hate it because I do like him personally a lot better than basically all the running backs behind him. I know there's a certain running back that will probably come off the board that people have potentially above him. For me, I mean we've seen a couple near legendary running back seasons from JT. Was on one with Daniel Jones healthy last year, so I'm just gonna pray. Just gonna pray that he's got that upside for this season still. Maybe they gotta lean heavily into him, this season here.
Yeah, and just as you started talking there, that's when I realized that you took Jonathan Taylor
Yeah.
with your pick. So that's interesting. I wasn't necessarily expecting that. But I mean, on the other hand, though, I know, well, I don't want to give away too much of your strategy, but thinking about it a little more, I can understand why you made the pick, but still wasn't totally expecting that. So that's
Yeah,
interesting.
I was definitely thinking between him and Amon-Ra. I think the big difference is just like I think they're pretty similar players for fantasy, and I think I want a running back. Yeah, I don't want to get behind on running back, and that's my biggest advice for anyone is do not get behind on running back this year. You cannot have enough, and when you get into the later rounds, wide receivers are far better. I was actually just doing like a mock earlier. When you get into like rounds, 12 or 13, like final rounds, there's like draftable receivers that you can literally start week one. Like, they might be like a wide receiver 30 or something like that. Like there's guys there, and at running back, good luck. Good luck trying to find a starter there. So, that is kind of how I'm going to break ties, especially in a first draft here. Try to get the running backs.
Yeah. The biggest thing I always wrestle with in redraft leagues, with the draft specifically, is playing the ADP game versus going with the best player. And this is kind of an interesting room because we got, a few people in here that I know, like Jacob and Camex, as well, of course, you and Levi. And then kind of basically the other half of the league I know nothing about. So, yeah. I mean, obviously I can assume, most of these guys are viewers of Levi's channel, Data Driven Dynasty. So I can probably extrapolate, assume some things like based on that. But yeah, I guess I'm probably going to assume this is a pretty sharp room. But that doesn't mean you still can't play the ADP game at times. So yeah, but that's what I'm always kind of wrestling with, between like those two things.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm just going to share the link here before our next pick, in our Discord here, so we can get some.
By the way, I don't know like what it is, but like it's like I'm having to like click refresh to like update the draft board. Like I don't know why that's not like doing it automatically. I mean, I'm using my work computer. It's newer than the computer I normally use. So I don't think there should be like any issues with it, like being an old computer or anything like that. So
yeah, that's pretty odd. Just shared our live stream. You are on the clock now, though.
Interesting. Okay, I'll have to refresh this again. Okay. Yeah, I think this is going to be an easy pick for me. I mean, still like plenty of great players on the board. Not saying it's like an easy choice, but I'll just take one last glance here. Yeah, I think I feel pretty. I feel pretty confident with this pick. I'm going to make it. Let's go with Mr. Chase Brown.
Yeah, I like that. I figured you would probably go with Mr. Chase Brown there.
Yeah, I don't have any shares of him in Dynasty. So, I mean, I'm not going to like just make decisions like, oh, I don't have any shares of this guy, so I'm going to like draft him here. I think he was probably the best player on the board anyways, and made the most sense since I went with the receiver with my first pick. I also think that because this is my first paid redraft draft this offseason, I think it also makes a little sense as I kind of like feel things out to go with maybe a bit of a balanced approach here. My thinking with taking Amon-Ra with with my first selection is that I felt like a good running back was going to come back to me. I mean, like worst case scenario, it was basically going to be. I mean, I don't have redraft rankings off the top of my head here that I've made, but probably be my lowest rank would probably be either like I guess like Chase Brown or Barkley. I'm not real high in A-Chain. I mean, he could probably be in the mix there, like probably like one of those guys, but like all really good players that I'd be thrilled to get at the 205.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would have clicked Chase Brown there as well. Just again, swinging for the fences. I think he's a fine pick right there, for sure. And then like Derrick Henry's there. I figured you'd probably go Chase Brown. You did, and I was gonna be happy to click Derrick Henry in the mid-second. One thing I do like to think about, Dan, when drafting these teams, especially in redraft, is especially like it depends on when you're making choices, right? I'm not saying every pick you need to think like this because that could. I think if you take it too far, it could lead you maybe from away from some breakout players and swinging for guys that we think can do well, but we haven't seen them do well. But when you get guys like JT and Derrick Henry here, I'm just trying to think like you're playing, you see your opponent's matchup, and you see JT and you see Derrick Henry there as RB2. You're like. You can't be feeling pretty good about that, seeing Derrick Henry as their RB2, especially if you're a team that like did not go. I mean, look at this. Imagine I played UK Chief week 1, and I mean the earliest he's gonna get his first RB is in the mid-third. So, I love the receiver depth down the board, and there might even be a running back here for me at 307 to triple up. I'm very interested to see how things fall. We do have a chat here. Says, hey fellas, he's in a keeper league, 12 team, half PPR, pretty standard like 2 flex league, but you got to start 3 receivers. Dan. He says he has a 4 spot and can keep either Jonathan Taylor at the 209 or Rashee Rice at the 504. What do we think? Ooh.
Okay, he can only keep one of those 2.
Yeah, that's very interesting because we see Rashee Rice right on cue here go at 210. So what's a bigger value? You get you can basically get Rashee Rice as your 5th round pick, or JT is your 209. Right off the top of the dome, my initial gut reaction to that. Of course, you should have some more time to think about this. And again, maybe if we give you an answer here in your Discord, we could always tell you if you change your mind. But I do actually think I would go Rashee Rice here in the 5th round, because you can still click running backs, early. I think the tough thing to decipher is like, what are you seeing at the 209, Robert? Because I know it's a keeper league, and if people are keeping their very good players, maybe that 209 is more like the 3rd round. So what's your initial reaction to that, Dan? Like, would you rather just keep? We're just talking about how important running backs are. I've just clicked JT at 1.7 here. Who would you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, my first instinct is take the best player there, because the thing about keeper leagues is, I mean, okay, so in this case, each team keeps 1 player, so 12 players are going to be kept. Those are generally going to be like 12 of the better to best players in fantasy, right? No one's going to be keeping, Darnell Mooney in, round 17 because they think it's a good value or something like that. It's going to be some of the best players, of course. So you're not going to have access to drafting like 12 of the best players. They're just going to be off the board before the draft even starts. So when in doubt, just keep the best player you own, regardless of the value. If it's close, yeah, absolutely, like value could be the tiebreaker. But that's kind of generally how I like to think about it. I think like what round you're keeping him in, that can come into play, but don't overrate that.
Yeah, he gives us some good information here, because that's the thing I want to speak out our ass here, because we don't know, like, without seeing the board and how people are going to do their keepers, we don't know what the running backs are going to be there. He says late second running backs would be kind of like Brees, Bucky, Kyron, if lucky. So just hearing that, my gut reaction is just lock up JT with there. And yeah. I agree with Jacob chimes in that Rice at 504 seems like a better value, and Robert agrees. I agree with that. I think he seems like the better value. But when you consider how scarce running back is, and you also consider that who are your opponents going to keep? They're probably going to keep Gibbs, Bijan, McCaffrey, all these guys. So you will be playing catch up big time at running back. I just personally, there's so many receivers down the board. Though I want to keep Rice there, I do think it's probably the very safe decision to go ahead and click JT, and you can still swing for the fences, round 5, and there'll be some really good receivers down there, still, even in a keeper league. As we'll see here, you'll see in this draft, when we're in round 6 or 7, maybe the equivalent to your keeper league, that, there should be some awesome receivers. I was just saying in round 13 there's startable receivers, or round 12 when I was doing my mocks. So, I like that pick there from, Ice Wizard here, or Icy Wizard is Levi, of course, from Data Driven Dynasty. Also, he just started a fantasy channel. Make sure you check that out. Like a separate one. He goes with the devil receiver start. Bold, but here's the thing. Because I cleaned up Henry, what's he going to do? Jeremiah Love went, so I actually kind of like how he played this, to click the receiver first and then let Jacob fall to the 2-3 turn, who I, of course, like Jacobs, but I know a lot of people do not like Jacobs. That'll be for a video in the future, of course. Holy crap. I'm just seeing McBride is here, and I don't want to click him, but that is actually a very interesting follow there in the 3rd round. Oh, boy. I really wasn't paying attention.
I was just starting to look at the draft board while you were talking and queue up some players, and I noticed McBride as well. I won't talk too much about what I'm thinking here. I'll talk more about it after I make my picks. But you are on the clock, Blake.
Yeah, I mean, like a ton of very tempting players here. I don't want to do this, but I think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to take a faller in McBride, at least in my opinion, a faller here. I expect a lot of regression, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at something while I'm making my pick here.
Yeah. That is I'm interested to see what people think about that pick. But last year, I guess I'll let you think about this before I tell my McBride story here.
Yeah, this is a tough choice here.
And yes, Robert, I agree. I think by the sounds of it, you should get some great values at wide receiver. I think we're definitely on board with the JT keeper. You got 4 seconds left, Dan. Buzzer beater for you?
Yeah. I went Javonte Williams there.
Nice.
Wanted to get a running back. It was a really tough choice, though. I'll talk more about my strategy after I get past the turn here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Javonte Williams, I will say, though, another player that I don't own any of in Dynasty. So maybe that factored in a little bit. But yeah, I'll talk some more in a few minutes.
Yeah. I was just talking to Levi. We recorded like 3 videos yesterday. And we had a big one on redraft. And, we were talking about the tight end position. And I agree with him. And actually, ultimately, I ended up kind of agreeing that, like, I think Brock Powers could be a great pick at 208. But I'm also like, I don't know that makes sense to take him for roster construction, right? Mm-hmm. I had this exact thing happen to me last year. Maybe that's my bias for taking McBride here, but that's also kind of why I'm very sketched out about doing it again, is I had McBride fall to the 3-4 turn last year. I didn't necessarily want McBride. I just clicked him, though, and obviously that paid off very, very well. He was basically one of the best players on my team, and helped me lead me to a championship. I didn't want to click him at 3-7 here. I get the 2 running back start, though. I'm not crazy about Javonte Williams. I've kind of actually simmered my expectations for him just a little bit. Though I do think at like 308, especially when that's your second running back, like that's obviously I would be praying Javonte Williams or a running back like that is there. But I think there might be some running backs coming up in round 4, round 5 that I might consider taking. Mm-hmm. So I figured. I basically what I was looking at, Dan, was I was looking at the receivers versus McBride. And I was just thinking, do I feel confident any of these receivers actually beat McBride in points per game? Even in a full PPR, and I really didn't. I really felt they were all pretty flat. So in my opinion, to lock up like McBride, I know I'm like he's I don't need to touch tight end now. I'm good for the rest of the draft. I can just start swinging at wide receivers. That was kind of just my tiebreaker there.
Yeah, and I think it was a good pick. I did the same thing last year in my one redraft league. Took McBride, and yeah, I immediately regretted the time and ended up being like my best pick. So funny how things work out. I think I would have had to have taken McBride if you didn't. So yeah, I think that was the right pick.
Yeah, I'd say it never feels great clicking in tight end that early, because I'll be the first to say I want to hit on tight ends later, but doing my mocks, I do think I hopefully should be able to make this work. And one thing I kind of did, not that I was noticing at the time, but I'm noticing now, is that wide receivers seem to be slipping just a tad here, it feels like. So I'm feeling pretty good about not having one so far. Mm-hmm. Plenty of good options left on the board. Jacob said Olave steal at 309 in the chat of ours. That's certainly a decent spot for him, but this is actually a very tough pick for me up next year.
Yeah, I agree. Same here. All right, so I am on the clock here. Yeah, this is definitely a tough choice.
And we'll
All right, I'm
answer.
going with Smitty.
Nice, good pick. We'll answer some more comments here in a second. Here is that right? We make our picks.
Yeah, that one was really, really tough pick there. I was tempted to go with another running back there.
Yeah.
Especially like after taking a wide receiver with my first pick. I think that would have been cool, like going 3 straight running backs there, and definitely would have helped me like gain some ground.
Yeah, this is a
I think I was
tough
thinking
pick.
of like ADP a little bit. We'll see what running backs come back to me. Maybe no good running backs come back. We'll see. But Devonta Smith is just a player I want to have some shares of. Another player I have 0 shares of in Dynasty. So I'm trying not to make this the deciding factor, but I guess it is being a bit of a tiebreaker for me. But also, I think Devonta Smith could just be in for a monster season with A.J. Brown being gone. Mekhi Lemon's a rookie. Eli Stowers is a rookie. I mean, Dallas Goedert's cool, but, he's not going to be like a target monster or anything like that.
I am trying out something very, very interesting here. Going Bucky Irving, who I don't know, maybe this is just an ADP, but there were some really good receiver options there. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about them when they come off the board here. They're not going to make it around to me. But I do know for a fact that I am not interested. Yes. And basically, once this tier of running backs kind of goes off the board here, probably before my next pick, and even if one falls, that's fine. There'll be plenty of receivers to take. I don't like the running backs whatsoever. I can take a couple handcuffs. Basically, this is my moment to get my RB3. I do really believe in Bucky Irving at cost, basically. I think there's a lot of risk involved just in a player's profile like this, but I don't know. I can count him out later, but like I'm getting him as like I don't know RB20. It feels like or something like that. Like to me that feels like a pretty decent price. I know there's some running backs that you might take over him, Dan, but for me, I truly think he's Kenny Gainwell's not going to take his lunch money. So
Hey, you never know. I mean, Kenny Gainwell was pretty awesome for fantasy last year, and not just for fantasy. I mean, if you watched him, like he looked good.
Yeah, no, I mean, sure. Like, of course, he got hyper targeted and all. I'm just saying, I think Bucky Irving is a far superior running back. I just don't expect like. Here's the thing, right? I think this is something that I've been thinking about recently with Bucky Irving, and especially why I'm like kind of confused why the market's flipping. Kenny Gainwell can have his role. Like, I agree. Like, he can have his role. He can be this receiving guy. Bucky Irvin's still going to catch passes. Like, I kind of think people are forgetting that Rashad White was running back alongside Bucky Irving his rookie year. You know what I mean? It's like, are we just forgetting that? Like, so for me, I just think like Bucky Irving come with the injury. I think with the new OC, like they'll actually use them more like we saw. And there's a lot of good arguments people have made about like the O line was the whole entire O line was hurt last year. So I do think that's a pretty controversial pick for my build. But I genuinely think he's a really good value here at 4.6. I think it was RB19 I got him at. And then I'm ready to smash some receivers now.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like a good value in terms of ADP. I mean, Bucky Irving is definitely a bit polarizing. I've kind of been all over the place on him. As different like injury news has come out and that kind of thing, and as his price has changed in Dynasty. Yeah, as far as like where I've landed on that, and as it applies to redraft, yeah, I think that's a fine value. Like I definitely can't fault you for taking him there. There is upside. I do think he's a good player. We'll see if he's healthy. We'll see how big of a factor Kenny Gainwell is. Yeah, I think that's a solid pick.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, Jacob's saying like there's a lot of people, 5 running backs he might have taken over him, and that Bucky's RP25 on underdog. I mean, I do like looking at ADPs and stuff like that. Sharp drafters. I will say there are times personally where I see ADPs over on other these best ball websites, and I'm just wondering what the hell is going on. You know what I mean? I genuinely think that there's no way he's RB25 like by the end of the season. That's just my personal opinion. Whether that's like he's RB20 or something like that by the end of it, we will see. But when I've been doing these mocks, I have been just continually surprised of just the receivers down the board. So I'm kind of willing to stretch this out and see what happens. Let's take a look here as we're waiting at the comments here and catch up. Naz is in here. Welcome. Says he got the second pick. He's keeping Rice in round 7. Another Rice keeper in the comments here. Says he's going to try to start the same way at number 2 with Bijan, Neighbors, Brees, just like Obi-Wan did in our draft. And then, Tootin, Travion in the 5th, and Parker Washington around 6. And then late round quarterback and tight end. I overall like that strategy, especially because you get the keeper in Rice in round 7. I'm a big fan of like round 5 Tootin personally. I think that's a good pick. And then I think Neighbors right now is also like he could be a controversial pick, but I do think if you can get him on that 2-3 turn, I think that's a pretty high upside swing on Neighbors. There's some risk involved there. I think the one pick for me, Dan, is that I'm a little unsure what to do with Breece Hall right now. Phenomenal running back, but I am a little sketched out still about the Jets stuff because he is still a very high-priced player. It's not like it's, I think like if Breece Hall was going where like Bucky Irving or Travis Etienne and stuff were going, he might feel more like a smash, but like those backs have been like kind of outproducing him in recent memory here.
So what are the choices between?
Well, he was just saying like that he wants to start just like Obi-Wan did here in the first 3 rounds. Because he's got Rice as a keeper in round 7.
Oh, okay.
Because he's got the number 2 pick.
That's definitely a great value there. And Rice should have an awesome season, provided that he is eligible to play in the NFL. You never know with him. But if he's on the field and Pat Mahomes is healthy, they should make good things happen, score a lot of fantasy points.
Yeah. And then Robert was asking, like, if you're punting quarterback and tight end, there are plenty of good ones down the board. You definitely don't need to grab one early, such as I did here. Basically, it was just a value thing. Very tough choices here at receiver. Again, there's like so many awesome names here that we like. I am just gonna go Jameson Williams here, though. The very extremely tough choice. The one thing I do like about JMO here, like kind of redraft, especially like on a running back heavy build, because I'm probably not gonna be starting too many receivers. You know what I mean? In here, probably like maximum 3, especially like early in the season. I'm basically just looking for ceiling here, like weekly ceiling. Feel like these other players around him hopefully can, provide some kind of floor if he busts. But the Lions are just such a awesome team to invest in this season.
Oh yeah, hey, can't argue with you there.
Projected 24 points or more in every single game this season, by the way.
Wow. So I still have a little bit of bad taste in my mouth from the end of the season, but I'm trying to be optimistic here, not let any negative Lions bias influence me.
5 seconds left, just in case you can't see it.
Oh, okay.
Did you queue or not? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I queued Tyler Warren.
Nice.
Again, like my draft button's grayed out, so I don't know what's going on with that. It was acting fine for a while. It was just like, the first round pick and then that one for some reason. So I don't know, but I'm refreshing. But give me Tyler Warren if it doesn't auto draft it to me based on my queue.
Yeah, they were just wondering, like they weren't sure if that was your pick or Jacob wasn't. So I just said in the chat that is your pick. Like you're just queuing when it's bugging. But Tyler Warren there. You get him a couple rounds later than Loveland as the tight end for I think the big thing that's tough for me is between, because you got Warren, you kind of got Fannin, who had just as good of a season. You got Kraft, and then you got Laporta down the board. Tons of awesome tight ends down there. Warren definitely the one that I think is I like the most. I think most people do. The tough part is I'm not really sure on the other guy's ADP, so I'm interested to see where they end up falling in this draft. But kind of get a hammer tight end there. Maybe you get a player that can outscore my McBride, but you get him around 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Tyler Warren, and there definitely seems to be a lot of buzz around him. It seems like everyone on YouTube is talking about Tyler Warren and how much they like him. And I really can't disagree. I mean, my only hesitation would be the health of Daniel Jones, but maybe that could even work in Tyler Warren's favor a little bit in terms of if Daniel Jones doesn't have his full arm strength, could be a lot of checkdowns to Tyler Warren. And I think he has a chance after having a really good rookie season to take a year or two leap, ascend to another level. So I think there's some pretty big upside there. And hopefully Daniel Jones gets healthy as the year goes on. Hopefully the Colts offense in general gets healthy, Alec Pierce included. And yeah, hopefully they're firing on all cylinders by the time we reach the fantasy playoffs and all the money on that is on the line here.
For sure, yeah. By the way, I had my eye on DeAndre Swift, not because I was expecting to take him, but I just thought DeAndre Swift, I did think he was going to go a little bit earlier, especially you see Chuba go ahead of him. I thought that was a really nice value for Jacob there at 6'1". Obviously gets his man Parker Washington at 5'12", who I would have personally taken if he somehow fell to me at 6'6". Was not expecting that for sure, but
yeah, I love the Parker Washington pick. I've lost track of how many shares of him I have in Dynasty, but it is a lot. I am really excited about him this year. It's just been nothing but incredible reports about him this offseason. I mean, if they're even mostly true, he's in for a big season.
Yeah. By the way, you're still in auto draft here, so I'll let you know that.
Thank you.
And I just noticed Parker Washington ahead of BTJ. I'm with you there, Jacob.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of casuals won't be there, but and Jadarian Price just goes right there. That's actually honestly round 6 Jadarian Price feels like a pretty good pick. Honestly, when you're looking at all the other running backs that are about to go next, I actually kind of like Jadarian Price here in redraft.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking about him there with my next pick if he fell to me. Another player I'm pretty much all in on in Dynasty, have way too many shares of, but I'm loving that.
No, yeah, this is I think a phenomenal value with the way that running backs are priced this year to get him in round 6. So
yeah, this sounds pretty good to me.
By the way, there are only 5 bench spots in this league, I noticed. So I just want to.
Oh wow, okay,
point that
interesting.
out.
Yeah, I should have looked closer at that. I just kind of looked at the starting lineup requirements, didn't look too hard at the bench, but that is good to know.
Yeah, exactly. I do personally I factor that in a little bit, especially early in this draft, where I feel at least in my opinion, when you get these shallow benches, that wide receivers are going to be, I feel like you have a higher chance of getting a Parker Washington or something of this year off waivers.
Right.
And of course you can get some nice handcuff running backs as well off waivers, but I feel like it might bode well for a little bit of a fade on receiver when you only have to start 2.
Yeah, and I went with the Warren brothers here.
Nice.
At the 5-6 turn, Tyler Warren and Jalen Warren. Yeah, the running backs are drying up. I don't want to be, left without a chair to sit on in this game of musical chairs or whatever. So, yeah, I love Jalen Warren this year. Another player I wish I had more shares of in Dynasty. I might have one. I did recently trade one away just because it was a good deal. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be in that Kenny Gainwell role. With Aaron Rodgers returning to the Steelers, I think that could be very productive for fantasy. This is a full PPR. So for me, that was kind of a no-brainer. Love the Christian Watson pick. That's whom I would have taken if it was not for Jalen Warren. It's a nice pick there.
Yeah, I was not expecting. I was really thinking between Christian Watson and JMO in the 5th round. And I was just thinking to myself, there is something about Christian Watson that, even though I think he could be a really, really strong pick this year, because I think a lot of people aren't believing it. Kind of like why I didn't want to take him round 5. You know, when it comes to round 6, like I gotta put my foot down. I gotta smash him, and that was kind of like a dream scenario for me. Because I knew I wasn't getting any of these like lads and stuff to follow me. Just kind of get JMO, Christian Watson. I feel like these are some pretty polarizing receivers to at least start off my wide receiver room. Obviously, like Rome's there. I think Rome, like at this cost, could be like a phenomenal pick. I just like I don't know. I'd rather go with Christian Watson, who's like actually just been like a very efficient wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like Roma Dunze, it's just like it's hard to wrap my head around what exactly to do with him. So when I have to tie break, I'm going for the wide receiver 1. I'm going for someone that I'm just not you know, trying to guess if they're the first or third option in their offense. Of course, Tucker Kraft's there. I want to be very clear about that. But Tucker Kraft's not an extremely high volume player. He never has been. He's an extremely efficient player, you know, similar to Christian Watson. So.
Yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see if Tucker Kraft could command more volume this year.
Which is entirely possible.
You know, yeah, I mean, especially with the receivers that the Packers lost in the offseason, those being Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks. Yeah, of course, Kraft is coming back from torn ACL, but I don't know. I mean, it kind of seems like, I mean, a lot of these like major injuries, it seems like aren't as big a deal as they used to be. I definitely think if Tucker Kraft can get healthy, and he seems like the kind of guy that would be like attacking his rehab and everything like that, I definitely think he could have a big season, and you know, especially in the second half.
No, yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people might hate this round 4 to 6. Like I think like a lot of like more like just like redraft kind of plug it in now might really hate this rounds 4 to 6, and maybe they love this rounds for 1 to 3. This is a pretty funny draft for me here. I'm kind of on polar opposites here. You know, I got the guys that do it every year, phenomenal, and then 3 guys that I think a lot of people would not necessarily trust for fantasy. And then yeah, you get the Warren brothers there to tie it. Yeah, I kind of overlooked that you picked Smitty there because I was locking in earlier. That's definitely a nice pick in the mid 4th. I had my INT Higgins, as I'm sure you did, as well, to see if he could fall there. I would have taken him over Bucky for sure. But yeah, I'm definitely excited with how things have fell so far. Levi takes Tyson. Jacob is a fan of that. Jacob is also a fan of my Christian Watson pick.
Yeah, I thought Christian Watson was a really good pick. And what's kind of fun is, you know, having your 2 starting receivers as JMO and Christian Watson. Yeah, both kind of like historically, like the, you know, feast or famine guys, you know, high upside, low floor. But what's kind of cool about it, potentially, I mean, depending on what other receivers you get, you're almost kind of like forced to start these 2 guys every week, you know, or at least to start the season and see how that goes.
Yeah.
But maybe that works out nicely because then, like, you know, because if you have JMO or Christian Watson as like your 3rd or 4th receiver, then you're like deciding each week, like,
yeah.
Oh, am I gonna start him? Oh, you know, is this
especially
week? You know, so yeah, you're just kind of forced to start them. So you'll live with the ups and downs. But yeah, they definitely offer that ceiling. Certainly, if they get hot in the fantasy playoffs, and you're already loaded at running back and tight end, that could that sounds pretty sweet as far as weekly ceiling.
Especially if you're like picking between the 2, you're like, oh boy, like which one do I start?
Oh, yeah.
You know, yeah, I do kind of like that. Like I again, I'm kind of going to my philosophy. You know, to at least explain for anyone watching. Like I really am trying to draft like if you're not first, you're last. Like that's what I've really been trying to lean into in my last. And again, like I mean, found some success in these previous seasons doing so. I found, and of course, like to me, like I don't care if I build a team that just completely just falls apart, whether it's injuries or just make the wrong pick. That's fine with me because you know I just I've had some success doing with swing with a high upside. Maybe JMO and Christian Watson aren't the guys this year. I do think that these are the kind of profiles that I am looking for, though. These later rounds, like for receivers. So plenty of other good receivers down this board as well. I'm seeing as well. Versus like these running backs. I don't know. I'm not a fan personally. I don't think I can predict which one of these running backs are going to be the guy to own, even if I have a slight idea. I just don't feel comfortable starting any of these running backs really left. Whereas I think there's a lot of receivers here that you could start. I think, plenty of good pickings for us coming up here. I am very interested to see what I'm going to do with the quarterback position. I see you haven't picked a quarterback as well.
Yeah, I mean, in that mock draft we did on our last live stream, I took Lamar Jackson and one of the early rounds. I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 or something like that. Or actually, maybe it was later. I see here it goes around 5, so I can't remember exactly where. But it was kind of an experiment. Wanted to see how it went. Like I even said at the time, that's probably not something I'd do in a real draft. I wanted to kind of see how it worked out. It worked out fine, but I still felt like afterwards, I don't think I'd do that in a real draft. I don't know exactly where that spot is that I would take Lamar if he fell, but I feel like it would, not that I'm anti-Lamar. I think he'd have a huge season, and especially this league is a 4-point passing touchdown. So like this would be the league to take him. Not saying that's a bad pick whatsoever, round 5. I mean, in theory, that sounds pretty great, but I just feel like the value is really going to have to hit me over the head at quarterback to take one. And I just want to keep stacking up these running backs and receivers personally.
No, for sure. Plenty of good ones left here. And Congo is in here. Welcome. Says, do we like David Montgomery and ETN, or do we just tolerate them? I mean, you got to factor in cost. I would say I'm more. I'm going off that. Like, we haven't got enough real ADP as drafts are just kind of warming up here. At 410, I'll just tolerate Monty. I think he's a really strong like dynasty cheap running back. But ETN at 4.3 here, I think that's a really nice value for his profile. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I think that's solid for ETN. I mean, I don't know. Like ETN is a bit of an enigma to me. I mean, I've always thought he was like a pretty good player, but you also hear like a lot of like really smart people on YouTube like looking at like the metrics and saying like actually he really sucks, or at least he sucked last year. I'm not sure they're saying like he's always sucked, but he was still good for fantasy last year. How is that going to translate in New Orleans? I'm not exactly sure. They do keep Kamara around. I'm not crazy about that, so I'd say I'm a little more sour on Travis Etienne than I was earlier in the offseason. But I don't hate the pick. I mean, especially in this league where, I feel like you're going to push up running backs a little bit, start a shallow league.
Tough decisions here. Again, like a lot of receivers I like here. Obviously, a lot of quarterbacks I like as well.
Yeah, this definitely is a tough decision here. I'm facing it myself here, anticipating the next pick.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many quarterbacks on the board. I'm actually going to do something pretty interesting here. I'm going to be technically reaching on ADP. I just think, like, this player is... I mean, especially in a build like mine here. I'm kind of just drafting Mekhi Lemon as a late... I'm just going to stash him basically on my bench. If I get anything better earlier season, I'll be happy with it. But obviously, really, really big fan of Mekhi Lemon. His profile, I think there's some players I can kind of pair at the receiver position down the board to, if I need a little bit of early season production. I am hoping that, Lemon's a player and get hot and try and, be a must-start kind of guy, that second half of the season.
I'm debating between 2 players here. It's a really tough choice. All right, we're going to go with it. Give me a my guy.
Nice, yeah. I was considering him as well. Like, seriously, I just saw he was so far down. I knew you would take him with one of your 2 picks, but no, I like that. I think, especially, that's only your 3rd receiver. I think that's like a really good.
That is just my 3rd wide receiver.
Yeah, I think that if going for your 3rd wide receiver, that is a very good swing around 7.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about him a decent bit on the channel, but I mean, I really like this Chargers offense this season, and everyone's been or a lot of people have made a really good case for Ladd this season, saying he could potentially be this year's JSN. I could definitely see that, but I think you're getting a very similar bet in Quentin Johnston at a much cheaper cost. And and he was smashing to start the season, pretty much before getting injured. Then the Chargers, pretty much their entire offense got injured. The line, Herbert, everything fell apart. I mean, if they all stayed healthy, including QJ, and he just kept smashing, I mean, imagine where he might be getting drafted in redraft leagues right now. So you're getting a massive discount just for some bad luck of some injuries last year. But the reports on him have been awesome. It seems like Mike McDaniel really likes him. He's hyping him up. They're running more 12 personnel. That leads to more consolidated targets for the two receivers that are on the field, which should be Ladd and QJ. So, yeah, I am all in.
Nice. Yeah, I think, like, you said it pretty well there. You're getting a very similar bet at a much cheaper cost. The difference between... Actually, you know what? I think Ladd did fall in this draft. But still, fourth round, generally, to, like, 7th round. I think QJ, again, is more like an 8th round, but I don't think it matters at all to reach up when you identify a value like that. Again, I was considering it as well. Basically the reason I didn't do it, Dan, was because I was kind of thinking, all right, I mean, I maybe I should stack as many of these receivers as possible. I'm kind of like, QJ is kind of these other guys, but same font. I'm like, maybe let me stack, because I was kind of thinking, maybe if I swing wrong on Watson or Williams, I just feel so good about Mekhi Lemon as a player that I suppose it's a little bit of different of a bet here. If I get one of those wrong, maybe Mekhi Lemon could take over. Christian Watson's got a little bit of injury concerns. I'm not like actually really factoring that into anything here, but I felt like I would kind of break my tie towards the mystery of Mekhi Lemon. Some fun picks there for round 7 receivers. I like our picks personally far better than DK Metcalf and Michael Wilson. No dissing to Camex. But...
I mean, I'm coming around on Michael Wilson a little bit. I mean, Blake, I've always liked him a little more than you. I certainly understand, the argument against Michael Wilson 100%. He has had really good reports on him this offseason. Meanwhile, like, Marv has kind of sounded like a train wreck. Now, take those, each with a grain of salt. I'm not saying that's the be-all, end-all, but it is something to keep in mind. And I think Michael Wilson has a chance, based on what I've been reading, to compete to be the Cardinals' #1 wide receiver. I mean, it's possible that, you could say, oh, well, Marv has, like, greatly out-targeted him, when they're both receivers are healthy on the field. That might be, like, more by design because, like, okay, Marv was considered the wide receiver 1 and he was drafted high and, he's, the X receiver and, the first read or like whatever the case may be. But after what Michael Wilson did last season, it sounds like they're giving him a chance to maybe be that X receiver or wide receiver 1 or, whatever term you want to use there. I think he's a good real life wide receiver, and I don't think we should sleep too much on him where we completely write him off. I think there still is some upside with him.
No, I agree. There's definitely some upside there. I mean, it's hard to, what was he, like 20 points per game down the stretch? I mean, it's hard to completely crap on a guy like that. But I think the big thing for me is when you look at the splits between him and Marvin Harrison Jr., basically hit Marv on the field and not. I mean, he's unusable when Marv has been on the field. Even with Marv off the appendicitis, like it was night and day. I'm going to trust those numbers personally more about, of course, the OC, I think, is a factor that's kind of hard to factor in, like exactly what to do with that. But, I'm just going to block in for my pick real quick. Man, I love Jordan Addison here. I guess maybe I shouldn't be calling out names, but I'm like going really, really tough decision here between a couple players. I think I am going to tie break. Ooh, that's tough. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do here, actually. I'm actually going to go through Jordan Addison. I was going to do Chris Godwin, name dropping again. But I think the reason why I didn't was because I think there's maybe a couple other players down the board I can kind of, I don't know, maybe they're like Chris Godwin, like veteran receiver. I was going to get like kind of a guy I could maybe feel better about starting week 1. But I was just kind of thinking about Addison, like, if there's a scenario where basically like Jefferson gets hurt, like I think Addison's like a smash in round 8 if that would ever happen. And it's kind of like I'm thinking I was considering QJ last round. I thought it was a really good pick. I kind of think Addison's a very similar like ish pick. Very like round 1 receiver. seen him obviously be wide receiver 2 his first 2 seasons, and it's like, he got JJ McCarthy the last year, so hopefully, Kyler can elevate him. Been some good stuff in camp, but I don't feel like great about being able to start like Addison. He is a very like high ceiling player though, so don't mind that. Let's go over the chat real quick here, because Congo was also saying, is he delusional for thinking Alec Pierce is going to be phenomenal? I'm interested to see where you're at currently on Alec Pierce, Dan. I think he's still on his board. Like, I think you can talk me in redraft here. We must be coming up on like wide receiver 40 soon, or very close to it, if not already. I think the issue is like they basically said there's no timeline for him right now. So in Dynasty, not a fan of him, but it's kind of funny that like in Superflex Dynasty, why is he getting drafted higher, or like he has been getting drafted higher than like single quarterback redraft? Like that doesn't even make any sense. So like the math definitely isn't mathing there. Any comment on that and why that might be, Dan?
For Dynasty?
Like, yeah, like Alec Pierce has been like a pretty consistent like 8th round pick, and then it's like that's Superflex Dynasty. Where we're going to obviously have players down the board that are not drafted yet, like going above them in Dynasty. So it's like, how is he an 8th round pick in redraft? Like one of those ADPs are like very wrong, basically.
Well, I think, the fact that most redraft leagues aren't super flex, that definitely seems a bit odd. But I think it's counterbalanced by the injury. You know what I mean? Because like, if Alec Pierce is going into the season with an injury, I mean, is that really a player you're like dying to bet on? I mean, of course it depends on the cost, and we'll see if he keeps like falling or like what the deal is. But, I don't like drafting players who are already hurt going into the year. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be like the season's going to be brutal enough with injuries and wear and tear and everything like that. I don't need my player like hurt going into the season. So, I'm generally staying away from guys like that. I'll always make an exception for at the right value, but I'm nervous about Pierce. I mean, the report I heard is that like his left leg is like much bigger than his right or something like that. That doesn't sound particularly good. Right. So I mean, I love him as a player, was buying him up like crazy in Dynasty last offseason, which aged really well. And I would like him quite a bit this season, more than you would, Blake, if he were healthy, and, even more so if Daniel Jones were going into the season healthy, but I can't say he's a player that I'm targeting at this point.
Yeah, it's funny because like I didn't have him on my board here, but like I definitely like him a lot more in redraft now if I'm seeing this cost. Especially again, like if my build, basically let's just say it's like Addison was off the board, maybe Godwin just snuck off. Like I might actually consider taking him, throwing him in my IR spot, even if he isn't healthy. That way I can just like have another player rostered. If he isn't there, and then if not, like I get a very cheap bet, on Alec Pierce. Like again, I don't love him, but you're getting him behind Josh Downs, you're getting him behind some receivers that I definitely wouldn't take over him. So it's kind of funny. Like I don't know. I guess I like Pierce. I might even like Pierce more in redraft than you. Funny enough, like just especially like I think he would fit kind of what I want to do as a build. But not gonna be crazy about him, of course. And this injury, I agree. It's gonna be hard to justify taking him.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can justify him being higher in Dynasty because, we're looking beyond just this year. But for this year, I think it's kind of dicey with Alec Pierce, all things considered.
Of course, yeah.
Due to the points that I just went over, so I can understand that. I mean, I can see how he'd fit your build on this team. I mean, you just like lean into like the, high floor or high ceiling, low floor wide receivers like J-Mo, Christian Watson, Alec Pierce. Yeah, that'd definitely be fun. So I could see it for your team from that perspective.
Yeah. And Congo asked this question here. He says, how much is a Dynasty team review if we have anything like that? We do have 2 services. We do the team review, and we do we did a couple of draft buddies too. If that interests you, if you do a startup draft, like we will literally draft with you. I just finished one. Dan just finished one. Dan did his for one of our listener leagues. And that one is $30, like the listener league. We're calling it like the draft assassin or something like that. I don't know. We have a couple names for it. And then I believe the team review was like $20. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think it was just $20. And for the draft buddy, like $30. We're offering that price to the next three more people that do it. The next 3 people that do it. It's definitely not a sustainable price. Like, takes a lot of time, more so than making $30 on it or whatever. But we really enjoy it. We love helping you guys. I did one with Nick. Blake, you did one with I'm forgetting his name now, but we've done 2 of them so far. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I helped Nick crush his draft. I know he's really excited about it. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. Might be a little biased there, but yeah, if you're interested in that, let us know.
Yeah, Congo. So yeah, if you want to do the team review though, yeah, that's $20, and then for basically what it is, yeah, I mean we especially because like this is something that we're kind of more debuting. Uh, Dan and I are the kind of the perfect guys to get a buy a team review, obviously because we're not charging very much. Like I'm not sure how much like blueprints and stuff from like the other the big dynasty guys are. I think they're very expensive though. For like $20, like I can assure you, we're gonna give you a number one just as as much. But I actually believe we'll probably give you more. We probably won't give you like a very cool blueprint looking image, but I can see what I can pull together if you want something like that. Again, these are kind of like beta, which is why we got the prices down low. So if you are interested in that, just put join our basically our Discord. If you don't have a Discord, like basically my well, hold on, I gotta lock in for a pick here real quick.
Yeah.
And then we'll get back to.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, appreciate your interest in that. And yeah, we will talk some more in a moment. But yeah, Blake and I are picking back to back here. So we want to make sure that we're locked in, make some good picks here.
Yeah, man. Just, I got to start swinging here again. I'll drop Casey Concepcion or something if he doesn't get off to a hot start. Maybe I got two rookie receivers there. It's not phenomenal, but again, I'm trying to strike gold here, the receiver position. Build a super team. So as you're locking in, Dan, you can block me out if you're trying to focus. But what I was gonna say is, yeah, join the Discord, and then we'll hook you up there. We'll sort things out there. If you're interested in that. But yeah, we can definitely give you like a very detailed. If you're new to the channel, Congo, I can't say I feel like you're new to the channel here, but I could be completely wrong. Obviously, it's been a minute since we streamed.
Yeah, we definitely haven't been. We haven't streamed as much of this off season as we did last off season. We've just been a little more focused on videos and shorts and collaborating with other channels and things like that. But we will be getting back to our live stream, like a more regular live stream schedule soon. But yeah, we might be a little rusty on the names because it has been a minute.
Yeah, we are basically, if you're new here, we're freaks when it comes to Dynasty. We think about this stuff way too much. So you're in very good hands. We're trying to popularize our terminology that we use too, because we have a lot of like names for things that don't have names, or even stuff that not really
I
talked
even have
about.
a note in my iPhone called the Dynasty Savvy Dictionary. Might even like share that at some point, maybe on like the Discord or something. If anyone wants to see that, let me know, and I'd be happy to post it in the Discord.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, again, just go to the Discord, and if you don't have Discord, just leave us a message here, and we'll be able to sort it out. You can see our names on Sleeper. You can always message us, but obviously would love to help you. It's kind of why we got the beta rolling out on these services, is to get some feedback from you guys. Try and help you guys out in at affordable cost, because I think you did just say. Love that it's not $100. So I do believe like the blueprint from like Domain is like 100. I could be wrong, but like there's got to be something more to that. There's no way like just a single blueprint has $100. Like is that, you know anything about that, Dan? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what it costs, but yeah, I would imagine it's probably not cheap considering how big those channels are.
No, yeah, exactly. Obviously, like they got some more stuff to do. That's a good thing about us. We when it comes to Dynasty, we got more time on our hands. Far less viewers, so take advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Receivers starting to dry out a little bit here, but there might be a guy here, Dan, that I see you might be eyeing up as your wide receiver 4 here.
Yeah, you definitely know who that is.
And I'll say, that's a perfectly nice price, but he just goes right there to Camex.
Oh, does he?
On 10, that's pretty good.
Let's see if it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Romeo Doubs. Yeah, that's been my guy recently. I mean, I featured him in our early bold predictions video. I think I made a decent case for him, but like honestly, I've discovered so much new information about Romeo Doubs. Blake, I was texting you about it the other day. I didn't even realize like potentially what a great call that was to have Doubs on the early bold predictions like months ago. Relative to like what I know now. I'm even like, 3 times like more convicted. Not saying he's like a guaranteed smash or anything like that, but I think there's a lot of potential there.
No, of course. I mean, at round 10 cost. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I mean, I didn't think you'd be going this late. Again, like I think you could really, again, I mean, I know like Michael Wilson has scored far better than last season, and DK Metcalf has had a history, but like to me, those guys are more, closer than the ADP or draft position was suggesting. I definitely agree with that. You're on the clock with 20 seconds left, by the way, just in case you can't see.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, thanks. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble here with it refreshing, but I appreciate the heads up there.
Down to
I
10
think I
seconds.
know what player I'm going to go with here. Give me Mr. Jalen Coker.
I was thinking so. I knew you wouldn't go with Higgins there. We obviously just made a video on Jaden Higgins. A couple comments to catch up here on. I think I missed Jacob saying he really liked the Mekhi Lemon pick. The one thing I don't like about the Mekhi Lemon pick, so I think a lot of people have said like sleeper ADP is bad this offseason, and it's really funny because it's really good and it is really bad right now. I think it's because it's updating like live as we go. Like it's still and
you're on the clock, Blake.
That's right. Yeah, good.
Before you talk too much.
Yeah. Good. Thank you for the reminder. All right. Boom. So I take Rashad White there around 10. Just gonna take a swing at an RB4. But basically, sleeper's really good because I think they have like guys like Mekhi Lemon and Jordan, like some rookies. I think they have the rookies pretty well priced. And they have some like, I don't know, maybe some more players like Christian Watson. There's some like Parker Washington. There's like sharp picks that are like really accurately priced, which is like annoying, I suppose, for us drafting. Because like I would love to get Mekhi Lemon in like round 9, round 10. Like you might be able to get on another platform. But the other thing is like it has like guys like Bucky Irving and I don't know what else comes to mind. But there's some players, I know Bucky Irving's one of them, that's like far higher ADP than I think it said like he was in the back of the second or the early third on sleeper ADP. So I think people are like think it's bad for that reason, but like I do think it's much sharper than like the ESPN Yahoos because those ones have like you'll sort in like round 12 and you're like I'm trying to think of like a name, but you'll be like whatever Casey Conception's still there, like he should have went rounds ago,
right?
It is right. So it is funny. It is kind of like a weird ADP, at least at this point, but I do think as it starts to update, it will get better.
And that's what can be so tricky about ESPN leagues is because like the ADP can be so bad at times. It's like, oh man, like I know this player should be going like 4 rounds earlier.
Yeah.
Like where do I take him? Like how much do I push my
exactly? Yeah, no, see that's the tough part, right? Because you can actually miss out on players a lot when you're thinking, well, their ADP is 4 rounds lower, but you just need one player in your league to basically know what they're doing, and then you might actually end up screwing yourself because they might reach for ADP, but they might be getting him behind where his true ADP should be.
So it begs the question, like, do you just take the best player available? Do you maybe push it like 1 round like later than you think he should go, but like not like trying to just go like 1 round before where the ADP is? A lot of different ways you could think about it, but that's what always makes it tough with those ESPN drafts. So I mean, it probably generally is better when like the ADP is sharper, even though in theory, I guess that you would think that would create fewer inefficiencies to take advantage of, which I guess it technically does, but it almost makes like decision making easier, which I guess it makes for a more enjoyable draft maybe. So I don't know, but kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah, exactly. Seb says Dan and Heggie is cooking. Haggy, I'm gonna be honest, I was looking at that earlier. I really am not too big of a fan of his team. It's not like he's like bad or anything. It's just he goes against like my strategy this year. He gets his RB2 as Hubbard in round 5. Like that's just not personally how I want to play it. Of course, I go 3 running backs in the first 4 rounds. Any thoughts on Haggy's team here? Obviously,
I think Haggy's a she based on the profile picture, but in any case, let me look at the team real quick here. So let's see, Lamb, Barkley, Olave, T. Higgins, Hubbard, Dart, Dobbins, Harvey. Okay, we went with both of the Broncos running backs. Don't think I love that.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, Travis Hunter. Yeah, I'm not crazy about it. I mean, I think like the first 4 picks are fine, but like from like Hubbard on down, I think we kind of get off track a bit. And honestly, even though the first 4 picks are fine, like I don't feel great about taking like 3 receivers in the first 4 rounds. So not my favorite draft.
And everyone knows I love Dart, but you don't need to take him in round 6 here, especially early round 6. That's why I'm not a fan personally of that team. But again, it's just like what do I know? So just not the
Yeah,
roster construction that I would do though.
but yeah, hey, I mean, I'll take the compliment from Seb. He said I'm cooking. I'm liking my team quite a bit. I don't know what you think about it, Blake, but I'm personally feeling very good about it. I think I generally have made good decisions, and yeah, I like the strategies that I've gone with so far. I feel like good value is falling to me.
Yeah, I overall like the build. I mean, again, it's obviously like this is very player takey and stuff. I
Yeah,
think the one thing that I don't love is basically like you took three players that I have like zero interest in. Well, I'll almost say like as much as I'm like not like crazy about Blake Corum redraft, I do acknowledge like all the upside that is there with Blake
yeah.
Corum if something were to happen. It's just like an injury needs to happen. Um, so
I mean, probably it does, but like I think there's at least a chance. You could say a small chance, but a chance that his role grows even further.
yeah,
And I'm not like anti Kyron Williams or anything like that. I mean, good running back and all, probably a little underrated. Um, but Blake Corum is very explosive. He looked awesome last year, and I just read a report about like his offseason workout, and McVay was really pumping him up and saying like he's saying Corum has pushed his body in ways he never had before. This is according to Nate Atkins of The Athletic. And let's see what else. So McVay said this is about. McVay says I did see a couple of those videos and they look cool as shit. It's impressive. I want to see him make people miss like that in the hole.
was he throwing an exercise ball around?
Yeah, right. But yeah, just to finish this off here, let's see. Williams has already noticed that Corum looks a lot leaner and a lot more explosive. I mean, I thought he looked really explosive last year, so that's pretty cool to hear. I mean, I love Blake Corum, Michigan man, awesome college running back, looked great last year. I think he's going to be even better this year. I think it could potentially be a really big year for Blake Corum, either because he just earns a bigger role on his own because they just can't hold him back anymore. Or maybe there is an injury. And yeah, if there's an injury to Kyron Williams, there's no one that I'm picking at the 805 that gives me more upside than Blake Corum on the Rams offense.
Yeah, no. I do like the idea because you can flex him. I think there's a chance. The tough is like he is a very like low floor flex because I was flexing him in a lot of leagues last year. When he was eating into Kyron's, I just don't think people are like considering how effective Blake Corum was last year. I mean, they were like damn near splitting until Blake Corum got banged up, I think in week 16. And I feel like that's kind of got people forgetting, just how, nerfed Kyron was because of Blake Corum last year. So I will say I definitely like taking him there. Oh, thank God someone took Debo, so I don't have to consider taking him. I'm going to go ahead and take my first quarterback finally. Long time coming, but round 11, Trevor Lawrence. I think the last person to take a quarterback. And no, you haven't taken a quarterback yet, I guess.
Well, start the quarterback run because I definitely was planning on taking a quarterback here. I think Trevor Lawrence would have been my pick, so you definitely sniped me there. Love the pick. But hey, got another two quarterbacks here that I am also very excited about. So I don't think, maybe a little bit of a tough choice between the two, but like not too tough. I'm going to go with Mr. Bo Nix.
Nice. Yeah, I saw he was sneaking down there. I basically was, looking at him as well. If I ever got someone randomly took a second quarterback, which I wasn't expecting and didn't happen. Two QB7 performances in a row by him. Can't really go wrong there. Getting him in round 11 either. Trevor Lawrence, obviously, also awesome last year. Finished way higher, at the end of the season than I realized in points per game and overall finish. So very, big fan of basically us fading quarterback till round 11. Not that I don't think you need to do that. I think it's also a pretty optimal strategy, however.
And you know what the best part about Bo Nix is? Was it last season, Blake, that we had a bunch of these like crazy like 4:00 games, and we always joke that like they always seem to involve the Broncos.
Yeah.
And I think I only owned Bo Nix on one dynasty team last year. It was so much fun owning him. I mean, like it seemed like at least like every few weeks. Like Bo Nix would just go absolutely nuclear in the 4 p.m. games and just like absolutely save my matchup and just like put up an insane game. Like he was just a blast to own. I wish I owned more of him in Dynasty. I think I just have maybe like a couple shares, something like that. So yeah, I love getting Bo Nix here. This is a league with 4-point passing touchdowns. So Nix gives you some of that rushing upside. Broncos should be one of the best offenses this season. And yeah, I just think you can't go wrong with Bo Nix here.
No, I agree. Like he is really fun to own. He was part of a big win for Trent and I in waste management. You know, some major weeks carrying us in season. I think he's solid in playoffs. I mean, he might have had one blow up week. I can't remember. But excuse me. He yeah. I mean, just getting them this late is a very very exciting. You know, like I this makes me like I'm glad I faded quarterback. I'm sure you probably are too. Get him there. Like the tough thing is I was very tempted to take Daniels around 7, but I don't know when it really comes down to it. You know how much variance is in the quarterback position. You can still get a guy that runs, you know, a bit. Like, you know, I mean these guys, you know, could really contest some of the quarterbacks in final, you know, total season points per game, and you're just getting them at such a low cost. Right? We have like handcuffs coming off the board. We have Khalil Shakir coming off the board. You know, versus like, you know, in round 7, there were some good players, right? So it's tough to, you know, say that there's a real right answer there, but I am pretty happy with how it turned out for both of us here.
Yeah.
Seb did ask, are we going to do start sits videos or streams before the games again? And I guess we hadn't like technically really talked about it, but I'm assuming the answer is we'll get some streams going.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, yeah, I love doing those start sit streams. I mean, those are always tough decisions to make, but we did so many of them that I feel like we got pretty good with our process, and they were a lot of fun as well. You know, I love helping you guys out there set the best possible lineup. So yeah, I mean, sounds good to me. Like I'm on board.
Yeah, exactly. We could try and get, you know, maybe we can get Wednesday and Saturday, or you know, something along those lines going again. That's what we were doing last year.
Yeah.
You know, if we don't have time for that for some reason, maybe we can pick a day. But you know, hey, ideally we can get both nights going.
Yeah, and like you know, even some of those streams could be solo. Like if one of us isn't available, you know, like the other could just kind of, what's the expression? Hold down the fort or whatever. So yeah, I definitely think we'll be doing a lot of those.
Yeah, maybe we can get a guest on, whether it's you know,
oh yeah,
someone we know off YouTube, or you know, I know Jacob's always down for stuff. Yep. But also, yeah, I was thinking about going, especially you know with the sleeper dynasty. I was thinking it could be a good opportunity to do some kind of streams, like maybe like Sunday morning, something like that. So like I don't really want to do them like solo. So you know, maybe we can get some Sunday morning ones kind of going on that channel as well. I was thinking like maybe it could be a good opportunity to get some guys like, you know, Levi if he's interested, and maybe like Stan, just like, you know, get a variety of like kind of guys coming on and giving their start sits, you know, right before we kick off the week. Could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
And you were almost coming up here.
Oh wow! So these are the final 2 rounds here.
Yeah, because they're very shallow. Bench, start 8. Brock Purdy goes. I'm not gonna lie. I probably was gonna just double tap quarterback had he stayed, just because you know I love Brock Purdy.
All right, so I'm on the clock here. After I refreshed. Okay, here we go. This is interesting. Yeah, there's still some fun players here available. Not an easy choice. Trying to think a little bit about what might fall back to me, but don't want to overthink it too much here. I think I'm going to go with my gut here. Give me Mr. Jalen McMillan.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, McMillan. I don't know if you saw he actually just got hurt today.
Oh, good Lord. Are you serious?
Yeah. I don't like it didn't sound good either. I mean, I don't think it's like a season end or anything, but it basically like well, at least what I saw is it's like, we don't have a timetable right now. What's going on?
Oh, good Lord.
So.
Okay, well, there's a good reminder. You might want to, you know, click on the player card, make sure there are no big updates, breaking news before you make the pick. But yeah, streaming here, I haven't been bothering to do that. Perhaps paying the price. let's fingers crossed, prayers up for Jalen McMillan. Let's hope he's healthy.
Yeah.
Definitely love his upside this year if he is. I've been saying that I think he could be this year's Parker Washington.
No, yeah, I mean, he obviously has some good stuff on his profile. I think I just did a video with someone, it must have been Levi, talking about Jalen McMillan. I could be wrong on who it was, but believe it was Levi, and yeah, he shares some of that same excitement over him as well.
Very nice.
But
I'm kind of surprised with the Jared Goff pick from you, both in terms of it being a 4-point passing touchdown league
is it? Yeah.
The fact that you already have Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of forgot that it's a 4-point passing touchdown. I'm just so used to playing at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just kind of thinking of like stacking with JMO.
Okay.
Honestly, it's like such a not a big deal though that
yeah.
I could just like drop him immediately and like
Right.
just draft someone else here.
It's not that big of a deal. There are going to be so many good players on waivers with how shallow the benches are here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, honestly, we may have just burned a couple picks in a row there with McMillan and Goff, but it honestly doesn't even matter that much.
Yeah. That might make me reconsider what I'm going to do here in round 13 though. However, yeah, man, some really good players on waivers, some high-end handcuffs, stuff like that.
But I mean, do you think it's optimal to like roster 2 quarterbacks and with benches this shallow?
No, I don't think it is. But kind of my basically like philosophy of what I've been trying to change, and it's in part for credit to JJ Zacharyason's like basically studies, is like if you kind of just draft 2 QB2s in ADP, like you kind of just like you actually like you don't kind of like you objectively have a higher percentage of chance of hitting on like a massive quarterback than you do of just like drafting like the high ADP quarterback that's not Josh Allen basically and Lamar. So basically that is like kind of my thoughts was like if I'm fading quarterback, I'm gonna click 2. And the reason I'm not too worried about it, a shallow quarterback or a shallow bench, is like, yeah, I don't really know if I want to be rostering both of them all season. But at least to start the season, I want to kind of, have my name on 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Especially if something happens week 1 that's like really just like, surprising, whatever it might be. And, in that case, I would just, hopefully I got one of the guys that I maybe is getting hyped, and I'm just not basing that being completely left out of the quarterback position, because it's really annoying, and when you just like don't have a quarterback in like a 12-team start one quarterback, you're like, I should have a quarterback, like why don't I have anyone good here, you know what I mean? Like that's like so silly.
Yeah, I think you make a pretty good case for that. I like the thinking there.
One thing I did last year, and I didn't really mean to do it, because I think I got auto-picked while I was like queuing players, and I was like, yeah, why would I go with 3 quarterbacks? On one team last year, I drafted Hurts as my first quarterback. That was my worst pick. Obviously, like he wasn't even like actually a good pick just in general, but I drafted Hurts, and then I double tapped Dak and like Drake May later down the board. And funny enough, I should have just went with like one of those guys, but I ended up having to like drop Dak in May like later, but because it took a couple weeks for May to like actually like go nuts. I think maybe that was like week 3 or something. So I had basically dropped him like before week 1 just because I was like, why? Same thing. 5-person benches, 4-point passing touchdown. But it was kind of funny, like when you just kind of take some swings on some quarterbacks. I mean, odds are you're probably gonna get someone pretty exciting there. So some interesting picks as we go down in the last round, as always. Jacob was saying, Blake informing Dan McMillan is hurt made me choke out my water. That's funny.
Jacob's taking way too much satisfaction in my misery here, but hey, enjoy it, Jacob. Glad I made you laugh. Never a bad thing.
That's pretty funny, actually. I could just imagine him drinking, but that was pretty funny.
I mean,
you were like pretty excited about the McMillan
dynasty shares than some freaking 1205 pick in a $20 redraft league. So that's the bigger issue.
Yeah, it was pretty funny timing though of you touting like McMillan, and then I'm just like, you do know he's like hurt right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, I figured
was
you
like,
probably you didn't based on how you're like talking about him.
Clearly, I did not.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
oh,
again,
good
like
Lord.
he
Yeah,
maybe he's
that
good
was
to
kind of
go.
embarrassing. So,
Well, maybe he's good to
again,
go week 1, and also it just happened like while you were working earlier
hey,
today. So
he he'll get put on the pup or IR or something. I can stash. I hope there are IR spots in this league. I don't know if there actually.
I think there is.
If there is, I can stash them. Pick up an extra player.
No, I think it actually could be a good pick because of that.
Right, exactly. That's the funny thing is like it might be just as good a pick because of that at this point in this kind of league with shallow bench.
How do you sort by IR here?
Well, let's make sure there is an IR spot first.
I think there's 2. I could be wrong, but yeah, double check it if you can. We're about to be up.
Oh, there is. Yeah, 2 IR slots. So hey, let's go.
Yeah.
Does Sleeper let you sort by IR?
I swear it does, but I don't know about on PC though.
Wait, not in the draft board. You have to go to like players from. You have to like get out of the draft board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me check that out as well. So yeah, go to available, and then you got to like swipe right until it says like IR at the very end for like next to the positions.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and you're on the clock, by the way.
I'm just gonna go ahead, just take a little swing here. Extra, probably just gonna drop him or something. But
yeah.
I am a little interested in just bringing him in a week 1 and just seeing if there is some weird, like, crazy 100th percentile outcome. Just on his profile here. Maybe there's some injuries that happen. Yeah, we know how the substation is, but at this point. But yeah.
Yeah, tough choice for me here. There is an IR player I'm considering. I'm trying to think if that's like getting too cute because I'm assuming like McMillan isn't IR eligible yet.
No, not yet.
All right, I got 10 seconds here. I might just go with the IR eligible player. Should I? Nah.
3 seconds. Okay, yeah, nice.
Baker, give me Baker.
Yeah, I was considering swapping Baker for Goff, but I was like, I do have JMO, and like they're just gonna be such a high scoring offense that I was like, whatever, I'll just like keep them. They're both good. They're both awesome.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I guess you sold me on the 2 quarterback strategy. So yeah, I mean, we'll see if I actually have the discipline to keep my QB2 of Baker, into the season, the first week or 2, and kind of see how Knicks does and how that plays out. But yeah, I think you made a good case, and I think that's a good strategy to consider. So I guess I'm trying it out here.
Yeah, it's literally basically just math because you're, like there are guys that come out of this range every year. Baker was one of them 2 years ago. Baker was also one last year until he got hurt. I believe going into week maybe 6 or 7. I was watching that quarterback, at least a little bit of it. I'm not actually. Funny enough, I know a lot of people like love the quarterback. I don't know if you watched it, like the Netflix thing that Peyton Manning does.
I think. I'm trying to think. I remember if I saw wide receiver. I don't think I've seen quarterback.
Yeah. Funny enough, I'm really like not too interested in it. The only reason I watched it because I was like, all right. Like I guess they properly like put it out during the part of the season or off season where you're like starting to get excited about football again. So I watched it, but I kind of find it's like so generic, and they're like talking about their season, and they're like, oh well, I played bad today. We got to get a win on the board tomorrow. But it is kind of interesting to like see the stuff behind the scenes. I don't even want to like see them playing. I just want to see like it's interesting to see their stuff like lives at home. And basically when they're not playing the games, and it's like they spend so much time like rewatching games. It's like I don't really like care for any of that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like that's they actually like recycle footage. I remember when Kirk Cousins was on there. I was like I seen half these clips on Twitter. Like
oh geez,
that they were using. So it's like
yeah.
Not too excited about. Maybe that's a controversial opinion. Let me know in the comments for hating on QB or wide receiver or whatever. But
yeah,
Baker. It made me remember Baker was getting an MVP chance in the first half of the season. He was like a MVP leader, and then he got hurt, and all the receivers for him got hurt. So yeah, things really started to fall off there. The whole O-line was hurt from the beginning of the season. So
yeah. And I mean, he was playing at like an MVP borderline level 2 years ago as well.
Yeah.
He had such an amazing season in 24. So, yeah, I really have liked Baker ever since he's been on the Buccaneers. Always think he's been underrated, and I feel like he plays well with a chip on his shoulder. That's just kind of like the kind of guy he is. and maybe he has one because, like, I don't know that much about it. Maybe you can fill me in a little bit, Blake, or anyone in the league chat or anyone in the live chat here. But it does seem like there's some drama going on with Baker and the Buccaneers, and I don't know if that's being viewed as a bad thing, but like for Baker, like that actually might be a good thing.
I think it's a good thing. He made a comment on it. I thought it was. I mean, maybe it's not like the smartest financial thing, but I think it's. I also think it kind of is though. At the same time, and what I mean was like, he could push for a contract right now and try to hold out, but he also could recognize that holding out doesn't really go well all the time, and that he can just go play some ball, get ready for the season. That's basically his quote. He's like, he's like, hey, that's for my agent to do. I basically the offer right now is like disrespectful to me, kind of thing. Like he's not being quiet about that. He said it's nowhere near what it needs to be, but he said I'm gonna have to go play and improve that, and I definitely like that. I'm not like a huge believer in the contract year stuff, but I do think like when you just think mentally, like these guys are, I mean, this is like generational money for their lives, their families. That like they're definitely, we probably should consider a little bit of that stuff in there. And we have seen a lot of contract year players go nuts, and I do think like with what we've seen from Baker in the Bucs organization already, like him there, outside of basically last year to end the second half of the season, and it's not like he was awful or anything. We know there was a bunch of injuries. I do think he's a very, very nice pick.
And hey, I get the double stack with not only Jalen McMillan, if he ever gets healthy after this injury, but Kenny Gainwell. Yeah,
no, exactly. Let's take a look at these teams, by the way. Let us know in the comments or the live chat here what you guys think. Let's go over yours here first.
Yeah, do we want to look at like the team view, like the lineup view?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. We actually just got a question from Elite PF Gamer. Welcome. Who's got a dynasty question? Perfect.
Sweet.
We definitely don't. I don't claim to be a redraft expert because we all know how lucky redraft is, but of course we know what we're doing there. Dynasty, as you can see, Dynasty Savvy, if you're new here, is where we thrive. Need some dynasty help in a 12-man full PPR tight end premium league. I have a trade offer to get Jamar Chase, but I have to give up Tet, 227 first and 2028 first. Would help me win it all. Short answer, absolutely not. Dan, so he's got to give up 3 first and Tet for Jamar Chase.
Good Lord, no, hell no.
Yeah, unless this is like a start 5 league. Yeah, super flex as well. Yeah, that's going to be a big whopping no. I mean, basically those 3 first should get you pretty well there right now in this economy. Yeah. Again, unless you're like a start like 8 or 9 randomly, like a super flex league. Most leagues that we're playing in a start 10, 11. So let us know how many starters there are. But yeah, Jamar Chase is awesome, but there are other receivers that can also help you win. Now, they might not help you win to the degree that Jamar Chase will, of course, as he might just be a wide receiver 1. But when you just look at cost, basically efficiency of what you're spending, we made a whole video about that that's with Levi on the Sleeper channel, about like war difference making in Dynasty, wins above replacement. There are a lot of good receivers down the board. Plenty of them in round 6 and 7. Dan, you really like QJ, that won't even cost you a first. This guy that Parker Washington won't cost you a first. And then you got guys like Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, and stuff like the veterans that definitely won't cost you a first. So if you want to make a push for your lineup, I would definitely just go any other route other than that, basically. Like, no player in Dynasty should cost you Tet and 3 first. That is pretty much ridiculous. You basically be burning Tet McMillan, who's a top 26 or 27 player right now in startups. He basically costs 2 first himself. So
yeah, and I would more so target players that are worth exactly 1 first. Like that is such a nice sweet spot of value for like a player to be worth on your dynasty team, because they still have so much room to increase in value. They can increase to 2 first, 3 firsts, whatever. And if they lose value, it's not as much. I mean, worst case, if they go down to 0, okay, you lost a first of value. That sucks, but it's a lot better than losing a player worth, 2 firsts of value, 3 firsts of value, etc. So, there's just not a lot to be gained by buying a player for like, basically like the equivalent of 5 first because Tet's worth 2.
Yeah, even if he like won you, I mean, like in theory, even if he, let's just say we knew he's gonna put up like 25 points per game, like, I mean, there's still no guarantee you win at that point. Like, there's just no reason to like pay that much. He did say it's a start 9, and even like again, we're talking more like start 10, 11 generally when we're trying to give advice. Like that's like we play, and that's we're very comfortable with. Start 9, yeah, it is more shallow. However, like go to basically to any other receiver. Like you really should just have to pay like Tet in a first to get to like, again, like I know that Neighbors is up in the air, but like as far as an investment goes, I mean he could be right there with Jamar Chase, maybe in production by the end of the season, but maybe when he gets healthy or in future years, but maybe a dynasty value next offseason. But like Puka, JSN, Amon-Ra, like go to like a receiver that won't cost you 5 first. Again, one of those firsts are just like early or mid. I mean, this class, as we know, is stacked next year. I mean, that could be a generationally bad trade. It would be the second you clicked accept if you did it. Basically, like, especially what I'm a big advocate of is trying to problem solve. Like instead of making a deal like that, how else can you just improve your lineup? Like I was suggesting, like get a player that's like worth basically a first, so a 6th, 7th round player. Or a guy that's not worth a first and should project out pretty well as well. How do you get Derrick Henry in this league or something? Pay a first for him instead of 5 firsts for Chase or something. Like even if Henry's not even worth a first, overpay for like a cheaper player that'll help you win. And he did say that the trade market is cooked, and I would say like if the trade market's cooked and that's the price of players, maybe you should consider like selling a player and again just going for cheaper options and just like build an absolute dynasty if you could sell a player for 5, 6 first.
What would QJ cost in that league? I mean, okay, maybe you say the trade market's cooked, so I'm assuming prices are a bit inflated. So, but still, I don't think anyone's gonna be expecting like a first for QJ. So, like, can you give a 27 second, dangle that in front of somebody and some kind of throw in on top of it?
Yeah, no, exactly.
If necessary, I mean, you could start with the 27 second, see what kind of response you get, and then throw something in if needed.
Yeah, he said the last trade for Chase in the league was basically 3 firsts, a second, Waddle, Pittman, Hunter Henry. Obviously, like a very expensive price. What I would at least say is like that's still much better than like the giving up Tet, I suppose. Than like because Waddle is far right down the board, but it is similarly like a very expensive, especially depending on how those first end up. Like again, odds are probably one of those are like earlier than not. So I mean, still like a price I wouldn't even want to pay for Chase, even in a start 9. Again, I think there's like basically a little bit of problem solving that could just really help your team out. So I mean, if you got any other questions of like maybe how else to go, basically do not pay that for a player in Dynasty like at all. That is way too much. No player is worth that.
I mean, it's just like impossible to win a trade like that when you're paying like 4 or 5 first of value. You just can't win it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're all about owning great players and stuff, but like process will win out.
But like to get to the point where you can own a bunch of great players, you have to build up that value, and you're not going to build up any value by paying 5 first of value on one guy.
That could buy you an entire like team basically. And here's another thing to think about, Elite, is that. Yeah, sure, you might not have Jamar Chase or some elite player going in the season, but here's what you should be doing those first if you want to contend. Wait for the season to start and wait to see who's doing really well. If, I don't know, whoever it is, like Burden or Washington or some player you like is doing really well, and maybe you're quote-unquote like feeling like you're overpaying by paying a first for Parker Washington, but okay, Parker Washington's the wide receiver 11 through the first month or something. Maybe you're getting a steal on Parker Washington early in the season, and you only paid a first, and he, is going to be a difference maker. Whoever the receiver is I'm just using him as an example. Buy players that are doing well in season, as opposed to just an overpay. Like I really like to keep these picks to wait in season to see who's doing well, and then I feel like I'm actually getting an advantage by making one of these deals, sending my picks away.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, having the picks in season as like that in-season buying power, it can be really powerful. And it's going to go a long way this year because, I mean, especially with like 27 picks and how much people like that draft class. So, like I'm being very careful with any dynasty trades about, before I make any dynasty trade, I think like, what could I do with this in season once I kind of know the answers to the tests? So really think long and hard about that. If you're going to make a trade like right now in August, it better be on a player that you are very convicted on, that you are just like absolutely convinced is going to smash, and you think there's such a good value right now that if they do smash or even perform really good, that they're going to increase in value and the cost would be higher in season. So those are some of the calculations you should be weighing right now before making any dynasty deal.
Yeah, no, exactly. He shared his roster, said appreciate the advice and subscribed. Hey, appreciate the sub. And again,
Awesome.
we got plenty of dynasty videos, and again, like even when we're doing redraft stuff in the season, you can always ask us dynasty questions. We'll definitely hook you up. And he shared his team. It's Dart, Ward, quarterback, Hampton, Stevenson, Dobbins at running back, and then receiver Tet, Neighbors, Amon-Ra, Debo, and then the Raiders receivers obviously not very good. So I mean, your team is kind of in a middling point right now. I mean, the first thing I see, by the way, for a little bit of advice, like, and unless you love Ward, we were just talking and raving about Baker Mayfield. I would be seeing if there's any way to, if you want to contend, to try and turn your Cam Ward into like a Baker Mayfield, a Goff, like one of these guys that's like just been all a QB1 every single year. And that's going to help you, like that'll give you just as much, whatever, expected wins as it would like adding Jamar Chase to your team. Like essentially, unless Cam Ward's just randomly going to be a huge breakout, maybe you believe in that. I'm not too sure. Also, he has Brock Bowers, so that's a great, And
I see he has 327 first. Holy cow. I mean, this looks like a really good team, like considering both the picks and the players, like. Yeah, pretty loaded at wide receiver. You got Bowers, like my God.
Yeah, so like this is a solid team. Obviously at running back, you're a little sketchy, but still those could be three very startable running backs. So, yeah, I mean basically for me the one big thing would be swapping Ward for one of these other quarterbacks in a similar price range, like the Baker, Goff, Kyler guys that I like. And
Blake, are you only doing that like as a straight swap, or like what are you willing to add?
I'm willing to add. I just did that exact deal. In a 12-team start 10, it was no pun intended. I essentially added. I didn't quite add a full Antonio Williams to do it. Obviously, like I was considering that probably a receiver like Diggs or someone signs when doing that, but I got another swap that I liked in there. I got like Montgomery for a late 27 second, which the running back market in that one is very, very cooked. So that was like a good price. So I am willing to add basically to get off Ward.
Okay, so let's say he sends it out as like a straight swap. He gets back a counter, and the guy wants his late projected 27 second thrown in on top of Ward. Are you doing that? Are you countering that?
I mean, I guess he has just one. I think I would try to get creative. I would suppose. Can you throw something in there?
Yeah.
But I mean, based off what he said, I don't see many great throw-ins, especially because he might need a J.K. Dobbins. But in theory, I would try to get a second, and then I would consider throwing the second out there, but then getting something back because I do think like. I would go to a different manager, basically. If I need to add a 27 second, I'd say, okay, well, I'm going to go to the Baker manager.
So, like, maybe if you could get something kicked back worth like a 27 third, or, whether that's an actual pick or a player, something like that, maybe that could be close enough.
Like, maybe you can get, like, Stephon Diggs kickback or something.
Yeah.
Or,
like, Debo, or, something that would help the lineup, maybe even, like, a running back. Like, I'm trying to think, like, I don't know. I guess there aren't many good running backs, like, worth only a third, but you get the point.
Yeah, so I think that could be like a better way to help you contend if you want to go that way. And also, again, like you got a pretty good, core here. Really, I would just consider, waiting a season, hoping your team's. There's always a chance your team just completely collapses and you wish you didn't send away all your first. But if your team's in it and is legit, then you should have an opportunity to move those first. Even in the most casual leagues with the least plugged in managers, everyone knows the 2027 class is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So you should have no problem trading those picks. So I hope that.
And just don't be in a hurry to like burn those 27 first. I mean, you may not even have to use all of them, but they'll go a long way in season, especially once some teams start getting eliminated. Those are when I make some of my best deals and end up winning leagues because of those moves that I make then. So, I would, save those 27 first until someone really offers you something, so great that you just can't turn it down.
And just remember that the best team does not always win. So,
Yeah.
you got some awesome players that are, like, yeah, I mean, like, literally Bowers, Amara, Tet, Neighbors. I love Dart. If you get Baker or some of those guys, Hampton, like, you have a team here already that's awesome. So, yeah, just follow a good process. And if you got any questions, join the Discord. If you want any more advice or you have some more questions, we're definitely the guys.
Yeah, or you can always
ask.
drop, trade offers in there. You'll instantly get a bunch of people responding, giving their comments. A lot of smart people in there. But yeah, sounds like you're doing a great job managing the team. Keep it up, and make sure you spend those 27 first wisely, because they'll go a long way if you save them for the right time.
That's a good I guess that's a good like roster review.
There you go.
Advertisement for anyone interested.
Yeah.
We were talking about it earlier when someone asked, Congo asked, we're doing, we're baiting right now, roster views for $20. It won't cost you, $100 like it might for some other creators. And we also do Dynasty startups with you. I don't think anyone else does that. And we're only doing it for $30 for the next 3 people, because it is a lot of effort. But we assure you some great results, and we do want to get some practice doing it, some feedback. Can help you guys out. So, and he says,
absolutely.
Yeah. Before we move on to reviewing these teams, he just said this is his second year of Dynasty, so he's just assumed trading assets for draft picks was the wave. Turned a lot of those picks into the team you have now. You think my team's priority should be quarterback, and yeah, like we love like what we're saying. We love like these quarterbacks that are super undervalued, like the Goffs, the Bakers. So I do think, in my opinion, if you're trying to contend, my priority would be trying to potentially dodge a landmine and Ward. It's not that I hate him, but I've learned that lesson before, trying to bet on a quarterback just because they're a good prospect, like in terms of real life. I don't think the fantasy upside's there. I would much rather go to a guy that's been a quarterback one repeatedly over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, what's really the upside with Cam Ward if he hits? Like, in the best case scenario,
he's
like
Jared
the best
Goff
season you could possibly imagine. Like, still not even that high.
So, genuinely, his ceiling, in my opinion, is what Jared Goff is like. What Jared Goff's worst season has been the last 4 years, which I believe is like QB 10 or 12 or something like that.
Right.
So I would be shocked if he's a top 12 quarterback. So you shouldn't really be thinking about age when it comes to quarterbacks, especially when they're like, what is Baker? 31 years old. Goff's 31 years old. So like, here's a pro tip for you. Quarterback age doesn't really matter, especially when a guy like Goff hasn't he's missed like 3 career games. So that's kind of like one of the best things you can exploit. And if you're new to Dynasty too, another pro tip, quarterbacks are the cheapest they've ever been. So you might kind of have like a misconstrued like view of the quarterback market, thinking like a quarterback at round 7 or something like that in startups is like expensive. It's not. That is as cheap as you'll ever see them. Before, you had to draft these guys at like round 5, and in round 7 you're getting like 36-year-old Kirk Cousins. Actually, he was more of a round 6 pick. You're getting year 2 Will Levis in round 6 in previous years. So
crazy.
You're doing very well buying these quarterbacks in this economy right now at a great value.
Yeah, but I agree about Cam Ward. There's just no reason to mess around with him. I mean, there's so many good quarterbacks. Like, why mess around with Cam Ward?
Yeah, and that's basically like our best advice we can give anyone is like, when in this economy, there's no reason to be betting on quarterbacks that don't have rushing upside, that aren't some guaranteed fantasy producer. Get guys that we feel confident can actually help you win leagues, which these our favorite targets are.
Yeah, I mean, even in a league with 6-point passing touchdowns, which would more favor a guy like Cam Ward, I mean, is he even going to outscore like Malik Willis this season? Probably not.
I wouldn't. I would way rather have Malik Willis redraft. Of course, Malik Willis got drafted or Cam Ward didn't. Anything's possible, of course. And we don't know that Malik Willis is going to keep his job, but yeah, in theory, he should get destroyed by Malik Willis in fantasy.
Yeah. So no reason to own Cam Ward. So see what you can do there.
Yeah. No. Glad you appreciate the advice. And again, if you want some more, stick around. Like, join the Discord for sure. Let's move on to look at the teams here. Glad we could talk a little bit of Dynasty. Sneak that in there. Always down to talk about that. So let's look at your team here. Basically, I guess I'll give you a quick summary of the team, then you can start kind of talking about what you thought like was your best and what you take back, your best picks and what you liked about your strategy. Basically, to sum up for the viewers and maybe someone that's listening in the
Well,
car.
here, do you want to pull up like my starting lineup view so
Oh.
you can see it better?
You know what? I gotta move our cameras because I do have you pulled up. I gotta just move our cameras why you can't see it. I'll stack it.
Yeah, I always like, at the end of the draft, like looking at your team page, like seeing how it's going to look in season when you're setting the lineup and everything like that.
Oh, do you want me to pull it like
picture than just like looking at the draft board?
I see what you mean. So I'm gonna pull it up like yeah, perfect. I see what you mean. Can we get a good view of this for you? People. Okay. So yeah, you get obviously very late quarterback in Nix and Baker. Awesome way to go late round quarterback. I love that.
Yeah.
And then you go ahead, get 2 running backs early. You got Amon-Ra, Smitty. I mean, basically you have a very well balanced team. Warren. So you get like one of the top tight ends, and then you get the Warren brother, Jalen.
Yep.
Brother from another mother, and then QJ in the flex, and then obviously on your bench, you're hoping McMillan can go to the IR, but. What did you like about your draft here? And I guess what would you take back?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's definitely a very well-balanced team, like almost like boringly so. But I really like it. I think there's a lot of sneaky upside on this team. I mean, it's so well-balanced that there's really like no weakness that I can point to. I mean, I feel good about everything. I mean, like Nix and Baker, like that sounds awesome to me, even a 4-point passing touchdown league. Love Tyler Warren this year, so pretty much set a tight end. I mean, he's going to live in the tight end slot. I think there's some sneaky upside with running backs. I mean, I was really torn on whether to go running back with the first pick. Between St. Brown and James Cook probably would have been my pick if I had gone running back. I could definitely debate that one and argued either way. If I could change it now, would I? I don't know. But I think it was a good pick at the time just to kind of stay balanced early. I wasn't exactly sure how this draft was going to go. So I think it was a nice, safe approach. Also, just thinking about how, you can't win your draft in the first round, but you can definitely lose it. I mean, if there's one player that you're not going to lose your draft with, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, the most consistent player probably in all of fantasy football. I mean, pretty much like him or Josh Allen. So I just think you can't go wrong there. I just got a lot of players I'm really excited about. I like the upside on the bench, especially with the running backs with Corm and Gainwell. I think there's a ton of upside there. Both contingent with injuries to the starters ahead of them potentially, or maybe they just have more of a role than most people are expecting. I mean, surprises are going to happen this year. We act like we have everything figured out, but none of us really know. So some weird things are going to happen. I always say expect the unexpected. So I love the upside with Corm and Gainwell there. I was so excited they both fell to me, especially considering I didn't go running back in round 1. So I think that really helped make up for it. And then, I love getting the value on Coker and QJ, in these late rounds here, even McMillan if he's healthy, but who cares if he's not? I'll pick somebody else up.
Yeah.
I'm loving this team. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the greatest team I ever drafted, but I think there's more upside than meets the eye here.
Yeah, I really like the Amon-Ra pick for the first round over Cook. Okay. We'll talk about videos, but I think Amon-Ra impacts your lineup a lot more in terms of ceiling outcome. I think it's objectively higher. I think his floor is basically if we see James Cook's basically ceiling bin for fantasy. So I like that, even though I like getting running backs early. And I think you could go a really nice way to then counteract the fact that you passed on James Cook and get Chase Brown and Javonte Williams in the next couple of rounds. And then obviously Jalen Warren later. Obviously some nice handcuffs later, and again maybe some flexibility off them. So I really like the balanced approach that you pulled off, especially for not wanting to take a receiver or running back. Sorry, not wanting to take a receiver in round 1. Personally, I like how you pieced it together, especially because you also got a round 4 receiver, and it didn't really feel like you had to give up too much here at running back. I don't think an RB3 is a necessity, like some monster one like I did. So I think Jalen Warren's a perfectly fine RB3.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably the best thing I did in this draft is resist taking quarterback. And I really think I learned from that mock draft. And I just kept pushing it. I mean, there were just so many good ones on the board, even mobile ones, rushing ones with, the passing touchdowns only being 4 points here. So you definitely value those mobile ones more. But I mean, how far down the board was it? You got Trevor Lawrence, then I got Bo Nix, and then even rounds past that, you got Baker there and, Malik Willis. I mean, there's just so many good ones. So it's just hard, even in a shallow league where you're only starting 8 players a week. It's still hard to justify a quarterback, and I love my team so much better because I wait on quarterback. I still love my quarterback room,
Yeah.
and I think by resisting quarterback, I really helped fortify my running back room by not, since I didn't take one in round 1. I think that really pushing quarterback really helped make up for that.
Yeah, what I like about the pushing the quarterback and still getting like Nix and Mayfield, I don't know the math behind it, but when you think of a week-to-week scenario, right? I mean, you think about the whole season. Like, yeah, they're probably not going to outscore. Here's the thing. They're probably not going to outscore the elite rushing quarterbacks. But here's the thing. Baker Mayfield 2 years ago, when the full healthy season, he had 25.5 points, I believe, in 6-point passing touchdowns. But
yeah,
he had a lot of rushing as well that year too. So the point is, like, he did score like a top 3 quarterback. So I can't even say that he doesn't have the full season upside, especially Nick's QB7 both years. But on a week-to-week basis, like, these guys can drop nukes. So it's like, to me, especially if you can like pick the right weeks to play them. If you did keep both of them, let's say, maybe you could kind of like if you actually keep them both, maybe you can kind of like flip-flop them on the right weeks and kind of like piece together like some really odd like quarterback 3 season from like 2 quarterbacks.
Right.
Because you got 2 awesome QB1s, I think, like at least low end QB1s.
Yeah.
You got them for cheaper than that, and I mean, like on a week to week basis, these guys can outscore Josh Allen. It happens all the time. I mean, it's not like Lamar Jackson. Those guys have bad weeks. Number 1 and number 2, they still get outscored all the time by other random quarterbacks. It's not like they're quarterback 1 every single week. So on a week to week basis, I think it really helps your lineup. To basically fade quarterback and then build up.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it doesn't work against me where I'm like picking the wrong quarterback every week.
Yeah, no.
That feels like the more likely outcome. But hey, I feel like we've gotten better at the start sets, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, if I could pick them on the right weeks, or at least like the majority of the time, more than half even, yeah, that could work out pretty well. I could end up with some, fairly elite quarterback production that could rival some of the best. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, definitely love both those QBs this year. And yeah, that's a reminder of, just how good Baker was 2 years ago. Yeah, I feel like I'm liking Baker more and more, just kind of talking myself into him here. But yeah, contract year. Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. I am kind of like a big contract year guy. I kind of always have been. I feel like we just see a lot of good seasons with players in their contract year. I mean, how could you not like try a little harder and be a little more focused and locked in, knowing like your livelihood's on the line here? I mean, it's the difference between tens of millions of dollars and, a lot less than that. So
no, exactly.
I mean, how can you not say that's not a huge incentive?
No, yeah, 100%. I guess we've talked enough about Baker that I won't even add anything because, we really like him. But, I'm going to have to change the cameras back here so that people can see my lineup. But what I was going to say is that we got an interesting comment here from Robert, who was asking some questions earlier about Keeper. Appreciate having you in here, Robert, once again.
Yeah, welcome. And
he said, in a Squid Games event with your life, you're going to like this question, Dan. This is our kind of question here. This is how you know we're getting back into peak, season form here. It says, in a Squid Game event with your life on the line, would you rather try to stop Derrick Henry from getting a first down or covering Jamar Chase? You get 10 attempts. I think I have an answer for this. It's going to sound crazy.
I'm definitely trying to cover Jamar Chase. I mean, I'll get, embarrassed, but I don't want anything to do with trying to tackle Derrick Henry. No, thank you.
I'm going to go with the Derrick Henry, and it's not because I think I can tackle him. I know I can't cover Jamar Chase. Right. I just know I can't. Especially because when you think, here's the thing. He quite literally could just run by you every single time.
Right.
And then that's with no cut, no move at all. And then imagine he starts putting in a cut.
Right.
Whereas Derrick Henry, here's the thing. If you understand physics, you can just throw your body at Derrick Henry's knees and just try to take his knees out, which defenders do all the time. Defenders our size do tackle Derrick Henry. I'm not saying we have the technique. I'm just saying if you think about this one logically, we definitely don't have the skills to cover Jamar Chase or the speed, but we do have enough weight on our body to throw ourselves in front of Derrick Henry and pray he trips on us, or to like dive at his shoelace.
Yeah. I guess you could just trip him, hope the ref misses it, whatever.
Yeah.
But I had a feeling, you were gonna say like, go low to tackle Derrick Henry. So I think that's a pretty good thought. Hey, I mean, I did play cornerback. Not saying I have a chance against Jamar Chase, hell no. But I mean, I got to stick with what I'm familiar with.
No, that's too good. I love that question. Let's see your answer there, Robert. Which one are you taking? I feel like I bring a pretty good. Like if my life was actually on the line, I'm 100% doing the Derrick Henry one. No, I don't want to touch Derrick Henry. I agree with that. And here's the thing: if you got to do it 10 times, my body might be destroyed by attempt 10.
Yeah.
But at that point, I'm dead anyways. So I'll take my chances. He said, double coverage on Chase. Do you mean like both of us get to cover him? I mean, if we got to double cover him, I might take that then because we could just bracket him, and I mean,
between the two of us, I mean, come on, we got to be able to,
would the Squid Games guards really be calling pass interference too? Like I don't know,
Yeah,
you're not gonna call illegal contact. Maybe one of us can press him.
NFL themed like Squid Games, like that'd be pretty cool.
Maybe one of us can press him, and then we kind of bracket him, and then we get in his way, illegal contact, pass interference. I think there could be some good double coverage. I think that
we would have to pull some kind of shenanigans, like both of us like press them and trip them.
Yeah,
like, I mean anything we can do.
Here's the thing: 3 NFL defenders can't like cover like Calvin Johnson though, so it's like triple coverage, and they also double cover Jamar Chase every single play in real NFL. So, but we could get we could definitely bend the rules a little bit. So
I mean that'd be our only chance here, and even with that, we'd still get smoked. But hey, sounds like fun.
Yeah. Matt says agree with Blake. Grab a Henry leg and hope for the best. Man, here's the thing. There was a guy on my team that was like very small in high school, and he would just like submarine people, massive running backs, and like I mean the way that he would like transfer his weight into a tackle and just like blow up people's shins. I mean, he'd take him down quick. So I would just have to pray I could replicate that for just one rep. All right. Now that we got it set up, and we answer that question, the important questions here. Take a look at my team here.
All right. Yeah. Let me pull up your team. So, it looks like everyone liked my idea for the team name with the blank driven fantasy. So I guess imitation is the sincerest form of flattery here.
Yeah, I like how like half the league changed their name.
Right after I made my team name Vibes Driven Fantasy, and then before you know it, half the league is blank driven fantasy.
No, exactly. Yeah, I did. I'm Aura Driven Fantasy. I like Jacobs as Ayahuasca Driven Fantasy. We all came up with a good one. And then, of course, someone has to change their name to Injury Ward and not Drake May Driven Fantasy. I love that one. Mm-hmm. He should do like the Drake May meme where he like Drake May Driven Fantasy. But looking at my team here, I get a start that I wanted, and here's one thing. In every single mock, I've clicked Derrick Henry in round 2. Because, I don't know, I just feel like, I think I got him as like RB 11 or 12, basically. I can't remember which one it was. But for me, I'll take my chances in redraft of Derrick Henry outperforming RB 11 or 12. He fits the team build. I want to get 2 running backs early. Again, I don't love the Jonathan Taylor pick, but I think the ceiling, it's impossible to say that ceiling's not there. We've seen it multiple times with him. So I like getting that start. It gets very controversial when you get to McBride in round 3. I just basically justified it. I take receiver. I took him over the receivers because I thought receivers really flat in that area. I just don't feel that confident in being able to pick which one's the league winner, even if I have ideas. Whereas I think I can get my tight end right now. And then down the board, I can still, take a ton of receivers with a ton of upside. And I think I'm going to get more points from my tight end slot, and I'll have an easier chance guessing who the receivers will be than, I don't know, the next breakout tight end, I suppose, if that makes sense. So, the way I fixed the receiver position was with J-Mo, Christian Watson, Addison. Then I go for some rookies like Lemon, Casey Concepton, and even Stribling. I probably won't roster all 3 of those rookies very long. I'll probably just wait to see what goes on with the waiver wire. See if I can catch a hot guy on wide receiver. But yeah, basically, Dan, my controversial pick is in round 4 with Bucky Irving. If anyone in chat has any opinion on it, let me know. But for me, I don't know if I would. I don't want to say I regret it. I do. I know. Here's the thing. I would have regretted it if Tootin fell to me in round 5, or even I don't like Judkins, or there was another running back there too, that went right in that area too. If one of those guys came back to me, I think you could talk me into taking one of those guys around 5, and then picking a receiver around 4. But because that didn't happen, I do personally like going Bucky, getting my RB3, and then I could basically just avoid running back the rest of the draft until I take Rachaad White. So I'm pretty happy with the draft. I do think there's a lot of risk in a build like this. Again, the receiver, like what if I just draft bust that receiver? I'm gonna hope I get a little lucky here, because if I hit something at receiver, I really like where my team's at. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, see, that's my biggest concern with your team is drafting, 3 rookie receivers in Lemon, Concepcion, and Stribling, especially in a league like this with the shallow benches, and there's going to be a lot on waivers. Like, if those rookies aren't producing right away and there are all these, like, awesome players on waivers, like, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to, you might end up dropping those players real quick.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you hate to, because, I mean, not that you spent like crazy high picks on any of them. But if you're just immediately going to end up dropping like 2 or all 3 of them anyways, you could have made better picks on the board. So yes, plenty of upside, but is it a little too dynasty brained? I mean, I know they carry huge upside just because like the mystery box factor, and especially like, second half of the season and everything. But something I really focus on in redraft leagues is I want to start the season hot. Now, that doesn't mean you don't stash any upside for later down, in the season and everything like that. And I think like the later rounds, as you get to more and more of the later rounds, you're swinging more and more for that upside. But I think it's going to be tough in a league with shallow benches to hang on to those rookies too long. So, I mean, I guess you can just see if they're immediate hits, and if they're not, you can cut bait, and, there's going to be a lot on waivers, and you'll probably be fine. It's not like something you can't overcome, but I'm just not sure if it's the optimal approach. I mean, not saying like I'm 100% right on that, but that's just my initial thought. But overall, I do think it's a solid team, but I'm a little nervous about your 2 flex spots. I mean, like week 1, are you going to be starting Lemon? Are you going to go like Addison? You got a bit of a question there. And like Bucky, I mean, certainly a really good running back 3, but is he like the best flex play in a full PPR when, Gainwell could steal some of his receiving role? Still think he could be productive, of course, but like, could there be a player on the board that was more productive there, potentially, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I was definitely looking at Stephon Diggs to ease those concerns. He ended up getting sniped a pick or 2 ahead of me in one of the rounds. And then Debo Samuel got picked before, which I said, thank you for picking Debo, because I was going to have to pick Debo had he fell to me, to basically shore up that. But with the shallow benches, basically what I'm looking at here with Casey, Concepcion, and Stribling, because I definitely get what you're saying. I didn't want to take 3 rookie receivers either. Maybe it is very dynasty brain, but Stribling, Concepcion, and then again, even with a quarterback 2, if I have to temporarily drop a quarterback 2, maybe I'll have to weigh out, what other quarterback options are. I basically feel like, I mean, even Rachaad White, I basically feel like Lemon's the only one I'm not going to drop on this bench here. What I want to see is that, it's not all that unlikely, like just in general, that we sometimes just see a rookie receiver, like have a week 1. I kind of just want to have the power of just seeing what happens with these 3 receivers early in the season, week 1, week 2. And then the second I start seeing who are these waiver wire players popping off, that's when I'm going to try and capture, if possible, who's the Parker Washington this year, or who's the next, handcuff that gets in, and then that's how I kind of plan on maybe like looking at this team, because right now with the starting lineup, like I'm pretty fine with how it is. I think like I'm not worried about like Bucky Irving personally. I know a lot of people are, but I know that Jordan Addison, I don't feel like amazing about him, but again, he's a very just like boom bust kind of player. Like as my 8th starter, like I'm pretty happy with him. And maybe I get pleasantly surprised, and I can put Rachaad White in there or something like that too. I have no idea. Like, who knows with Rachaad White? I basically just took him as a very cheap flyer at the end. So basically, I'm just seeing, like, can I just, like, strike lightning gold here in there? And I'm not looking too much into my bench, because I think it'll be basically, I mean, we know how redraft goes. There's going to be a crap ton of turnover. I think the difference in our philosophy on the bench is like you have a lot of players that I think I would be like pretty uncomfortable potentially dropping if you really like them. Like you might not get the answer on like Gainwell or Quorum. Like they might be like just usable enough where you like don't want to drop them.
Right.
Like you're like I can't drop Quorum, but like if Casey Conception is shribbling and Rashad White are doing nothing, like they're gone. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. I think you make a good argument for that. So I think you can kind of like argue it either way.
Yeah, it's like a preference.
But yeah, I think you make a good case for that. So I think you sold me a little bit there. But yeah, at the same time, you do want to start hot. So I guess you might be starting like a Lemon or Addison week 1 and hoping for the best, but doesn't feel totally optimal, especially in like a start 8 where each player that you're starting counts for a lot because like they're like basically an eighth of your starting lineup. So like you really don't want to have a weakness in your starting lineup.
No, exactly, and that's why like at least with a guy like Addison, at least I think we've seen enough of a weekly ceiling with some wide receiver 1 stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean
he's basically just
Addison is like your worst player week 1, and it only gets better from there. That's not the worst thing in the world.
Basically,
who knows?
just
maybe he goes off for 30 points. He's been known to do that. And hey, like he fits in great with JMO and Christian Watson. So yeah, why not just lean into the variance there?
Yeah, exactly. Going into week 1, I basically just view him the same thing as like QJ from like your flex spot. So flip a coin.
Yeah, I mean obviously I feel a little better about the Chargers offense and like Justin Herbert, but yeah, still similar bet.
Exactly. Yeah. So like for me, I'm not like too worried, but again, like I mean it's a redraft. Like if if I swing and miss, like I'm really just I'm really looking to try and capture potentially one of the best picks. You know how high I'm on Lemon, so absolutely.
Yeah, and to be clear, like I'm nitpicking your team a little bit
of
just
course,
to kind of like think out loud and give like the viewers something to think about as well. But I do think you drafted a very solid team. Love Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you got 2 awesome running backs. You got the high upside, high variance receivers. You got Trey McBride as your tight end. You got good value on Bucky Irving. So you could do a lot worse in this team.
No, yeah, exactly. I'm very excited to see how this team works out because again, like really, like this team, I do think it has a lot of. If you're not first, you're last. Especially what we're saying about the flexes and the receiver. Like maybe things bust. If they do, they do. Like I'm going for gold here. I do think in like if I can, basically when I'm looking at the receivers, right? I'm not looking too big into individual any of them. I'm just seeing if I can get like one league winner here. Can one of these receivers just destroy their ADP, be the George Pickens of this year, and then maybe can I get a second one that slightly outproduces his ADP? Can that be Christian Watson or something like that, and or someone can get hot down the stretch. So that's just all I'm looking for on my build. That's kind of like my philosophy. I'm really just trying to. Like build the most optimal roster possible. I just don't care too much about being like safe, if that makes sense. However, I do think that doesn't mean just like make bad picks. I would have definitely taken Diggs or again like a Debo or something like that to complement this roster later. I don't think that just means like go take Stribling, go take some random like rookie. That's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm just saying like build your roster wisely, and I'm weak at receivers, so I definitely need to take some shots to see.
Right.
We know that rookie receivers in late rounds are some of the best bets you can make at getting a steal receiver.
Yeah, for sure. And so and what I like too is that your team has an identity. Like you have like the 3 receivers with the high weekly ceiling. Then you have like the 3 rookie receivers with the mystery box upside. You're absolutely elite at running back and tight end. You got an amazing value at quarterback. So there's a nice plan for this team. So I think it's well thought out and executed. Yeah,
I'm hoping there's 3 RB1s on this team. I'm hoping Bucky Irving can get a little bounce back going here, but.
Well, that's something I'll definitely be rooting against that for my boy Gainwell, but hopefully at least one of them smashes.
Yeah. Hey, one of us might have a league winner on our hands, one way or another.
Absolutely.
Matt says, he hates shallow redraft benches, driving him crazy. Mm-hmm. I agree. I didn't want to, put up a fight here with Levi about the bench sizes, but I agree. The more bench spots, the better. I will say, like in redraft. I know, Dan, I think you have like a ton of bench spots. I will say, like, I'm good with like 7 or something like that. Like, I think that's like 1 or 2 spots more than normal. I'm good with that because one thing that I do like about redraft as opposed to Dynasty is that, like, yeah, I do think the waiver wire should have a lot of like interesting stuff.
Right.
To like basically there's just so much variance. Like I think that you should have some chances to like make an awesome pickup. Whereas like if everything's like rostered, like I don't know, I guess
Right.
it is like it keeps people not very active throughout the season potentially. I think
Yeah.
it really promotes activity and excitement having
Yeah.
stuff on waivers. But I agree when you only have 5, like it's just like man, it does make it really hard. Like we're saying to keep some rookie receivers you might believe in or something like that. So
Yeah. I mean, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but when I am in a league that has shallow benches, I just embrace it. You know what I mean? I just view it like, okay, that's how it is. That's the
yeah,
setup. Now, how do I best roster construction and approach this draft and managing this team based around that? And, and then I'm just kind of like locked into that and I don't like think about it that much more. But yeah, of course, I do love stashing my players. I love my big benches and everything. But I just sort of view it as like kind of like a different game with a different strategy.
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, gotta lean into it. Maybe you could take advantage of it. And Matt also says about Stripling. Maybe you can get some hype on him and deal him. And that's actually yeah, I think that's interesting because I definitely don't like I definitely don't draft anyone to like thinking about that. However, that's kind of why I just took him is that like I do think there's some scenario where I don't know he's just like some very exciting player. Whether it's just like there's injuries or he makes a big play, just something like that. And you never know. There are trades there where someone really believes in him. I'm not gonna count on that for sure, but he could be a player in my opinion that like I'm rostering him in week 1 because like I'm trying to think ahead of like who could be the biggest waiver wire pickups on a week after week 1. Like Stribling fits that bill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I'm just at least hanging on to him for now.
Yeah. I was even kind of thinking a little bit like, could Baker be a trade bait? I mean, I know you typically don't get much for like quarterbacks and like redraft, but I guess just thinking of a scenario where like Knicks and Baker are both smashing. I don't know. Maybe you could get a little something, or maybe it'd also create a situation where I don't want to like drop either of them, and I'm kind of like stuck rostering 2 quarterbacks. So I don't know. It'd be a good problem to have, but yeah, you never know. I mean, trades are a thing in redraft, even though we more so associated with Dynasty. So it's something to at least keep in the back of your mind.
Yeah, it's funny. When I used to play like in a league or two, I used to like grind trades and like try to get so many deals done. And funny enough, I would get deals done, but since like playing in a bunch of Dynasty, I don't even like bother trying to trade and redraft. I mean, if I really need to, I will, but it's just like
Yeah.
I if I'm cooked, I'm cooked. Like if I die, I die. I definitely appreciate people sending me offers and stuff. I'll accept them if they're good or whatever as well. But
Yeah, I mean, trading's always fun. So yeah, definitely not opposed to that in redraft.
Yeah, it's just like I don't want to like waste time like coming up
Yeah.
with like offers.
Yeah. With all the leagues we're in, and that's another reason why I'm not like generally crazy about the shallow benches, because then I'm like forced to like, grind waivers every week in that league, combined with like doing waivers in like 20 plus dynasty leagues, and it just gets to be so much. I mean, I guess that's like a me problem, and not everyone plays in that many leagues, but that's also kind of where my head's at with liking the deeper benches.
Yeah, no, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I think we had a good stream here drafting. Anything else we should do on the stream? Should we keep going, or do you want to call it here?
I mean, I'm leaning toward calling it. I mean, is there any like live chat to catch up on, or are we pretty caught up there?
Last thing that was said, and let us know if you guys got any questions, whether it's Dynasty or Redraft, in the comments here. Matt said...
Matt has a great comment. He says,
Yeah.
Dan likes Kenny Gainwell just because he loves the chicken roaster episode. Kenny. Yeah, it's a little Seinfeld reference there. But yeah, go ahead, Blake.
Oh, that's all I was going to read out was the...
Oh,
was the
okay.
comment.
I assumed it was something else though, but yeah, love the Seinfeld references from Matt. So yeah, I think we will probably call it there. But this was super fun.
Yeah.
Just kind of a spontaneous draft here. This wasn't even something I was planning on doing. I just saw the invitation, Blake, that you posted in the Discord a few hours ago, and I was like, hey, what the hell? Like, I want to get some more practice in with these redraft drafts. Another good reason to join the Discord. It's totally free. Links in the description. Great place to talk fantasy, whether it's redraft, dynasty, best ball, pretty much talk about anything football related in there. And definitely drop us a like on the stream if you would like to see more streams like this. That'll definitely encourage us. And definitely make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We'll be helping you when you're redraft leagues, dynasty leagues, pretty much everything. We might split it up into 2 channels here, something that Blake and I were talking about. If you guys have any thoughts on that, feel free to share. You know, you can always like debate these things either way on YouTube, what's best for the algorithm. But yeah, we might have another channel soon called Fantasy Savvy, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, appreciate everyone for watching, especially if you're rewatching on the replay there. But yeah, let us know what you think of our drafts if you are rewatching it, and anything maybe you would have done differently. Any thoughts on any of our controversial picks? But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you join the Discord if you're not. Subscribe, all that great stuff.